something to be said about hard-nosed full contact. It's like that raw rap all the way back to boom bap. Spikes up, Ty Cobb inspired killing the corners. Heating up with recklessness, we still getting warmer. Nevertheless, nothing can test, we bring it best. Wile E. Coyote mixed with Roadrunner, full comers. Holding your title hostage, the kings we smoke others. You're either with us or against us, it doesn't matter which. Scouting your weakness, we bring the wrath when we hit. There's never been a squad as raw as trash can spit. You might get bashed with a stick while I'm pounding the fence. Look around, you're a fish while I'm rounding it quick. Take a look at the base and sprint off with a fist in your face. No remorse, no mercy, no force can hurt me. The scouts purposely bring the pain, come try to work me. But there's a crew of dirty cats.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to the Glue Guys program. Watch those speakers. Episode 46. We're here once again, Wednesday, 6:30, like every Wednesday at 6:30. And something a little different tonight. We've been promoting a little bit. Marlos has made a nice flyer, so we look professional. We have a guest host. He's going to be with us for the program, going over a variety of topics. No holds barred. We made a minor list, but there's nothing that says this is all planned out. We're going to kind of just roll with it. And to troll me even further, bust out the old school early 90s, Lemieux coming back from cancer, Pittsburgh Penguins logo. What, you think I'm not up on my logos? Whooping our ass. It was Lemieux, then Crosby friggin' making my life miserable for many years. The frustrating part is watching you guys, actually use your first round picks and get these guys and just overtake us.
Thank you.
Winning cups. So, again, Corey Miller joining us. Mucho experience playing softball in different sanctions and divisions, so we're very honored to have him here and, get his knowledge base. We'll get this out of the way because these people are nice enough to let us put their logos on the screen.
Hey, wait a second.
Hold on. All right. I was just going to knock it out.
Okay. The only reason I said wait, so there's a part of me that wants to run the start back, right? Because we have a new intro. And I wanted to run it, but then I said, let's keep it consistent, right? Because I didn't like to drop it on you because I didn't have a chance to show it to you. But nonetheless, we can go back to the sponsors. But we got some new shit coming.
I mean, you want to remix it? I can
run it back. That's all. Hey.
I don't know. What are we doing?
I don't want to. I don't want to have to get the get the turntables out. That's weird.
You want some of this, old man? No.
Nah, you got that. Bro. You got it.
All right,
go ahead and run the sponsors. We're good, bro. We're good.
So, Mickey Czar Realty, huge supporters of the program. I got a chance to attend their customer appreciation party, and let me tell you something. Mickey's boss had the tie off, was giving away raffles. I gave him the mic, dropping F-bombs. I looked at him and said, this guy would fit in perfect on the Glue Guys program.
My guy, right?
No F's given, man. So,
the wankster, man. The wankster,
yes,
bro. The wankster.
Appreciate him big time. Appreciate Mickey for inviting me. And, I got the wife out. Ran into Timmy Myers there. Had a ball talking to Tim.
Oh, that's dope.
One of my very close friends in softball. And I don't use those words, softball and friends, together very often. So make note. I think Jimmy was there, so somebody won something. Somebody wins something whenever Jimmy's around. So thank you to Mickey for inviting us. Guys, real estate, selling, buying, renting, just... You need information. Mickey's a guy to call. We keep talking about it. Someday you'll listen to us. Ted, it's on Facebook. Hey, man, Warzone 2.0 today. I got to jump in with my boy and didn't embarrass myself. Got a couple kills, saved his ass. That's not going to happen often, so I get to enjoy it. But as you can see behind me, I got it up. When we get done, I'm going to jump right back in. I am personally enjoying it. The friends list is screwed. You have to, go through all these steps. So they got some tweaks, but overall, I'm enjoying it. So check out Ted. He should be back on tonight, actually. He had a ball. Warzone 2.0 now, man. So come check him out. We're going to be on Facebook, but we're also going to be on YouTube and Twitch, so stay tuned for that. Our friends at Marty's Trophies and Awards, obviously, we usually have a bunch of stuff up. There's my one Glue Guys cup. Low sign up. Bang. There it is. Taking care of our sponsors. They hooked me up with the hats for Worlds. People were asking about them, where I get them. So hopefully I got them some business. I handed out Johnny's number. So anything you need, trophies, awards, and outside the box thinking, go see our friends over at Marty's McDilly Sports. The toughest shelves in softball today. I haven't got that tagline approved, but what the hell? It's my show. I say what I want on the ads. It's always been that way. And then, of course, Jimmy De La Riva over at Sahara Solar. Folks, I know it's getting cooler and you're not thinking about it, but look, I don't know if you watch the elections, but there's a good chance that your bills are probably going to go up again. No political talk here, just facts. They might go up. You might want to look into solar. You're going to be needing to find money in other places you don't usually find it. Look into solar, please. It will save you some loot. Go see our friend Jimmy. He'll take care of you with all the information. Benny over at L&T Automotive has worked on both mine and Marlos' family cars. You can't go wrong with Benny. VIP service for us trailer park trash. And, of course, every week we try to remind you people to get on your music streaming services because I know y'all got them. All right? And search that Blaze Rock, please. Search Blaze Rock. Let's get some spins on that.
With the pinky. Even.
He's getting like a quarter of a cent for all the plays. So could you people please? What, is that too much? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the fuck? What kind of big baller shit is that?
I mean,
that kind
you
of
know, like,
that shit, bro. Come on,
listen, he's got to get like 500 spins to get like 3 cents, man. Can we help him out here?
There you go.
Can we help him out? Anything that you, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever it is, man, come on. Look up Blaze Rock. I guarantee you there's such a huge catalog of music. You're going to find something that you like because it's such a variety of different tracks that he's done. Jeez, he got one with the Cross-Platform Collective. Like, it's a rock band, dude.
Yes, sir.
It's a rock. So there's all kinds of stuff, man. You know what? We'll give him one more shout-out for free. DT34 code at sluggerslowpitch.com for our boy Dave Taylor with his brand new hip. Going to be out of action for 6 to 8 months. I'm going to say he's going to be on LTIR for a little longer than that, knowing Dave. The discipline it takes to go to PT and eat right, I don't know. It's like the odds, you know, it's not good. It's like a plus 900 for him getting back in 6 months. But we'll see. And don't mind my...
He's going to come back big as beast, bro.
Yeah, you know, with these odds, I keep betting these football games. I should know better by now. I got killed. UFC got me this week, too. We'll talk about that. But let's give Dave a shout-out. Quick healing there, brother. We'll get you back out there soon enough. Again, folks, please, if you have topics tonight, don't be afraid to put them in the chat, all right? And, again, the show remains an open forum. Guests.glueguysprogram.com will get you in the queue, and Los will bring you in. So if there's something you want to discuss, as we always say, own it. Don't just type it in the chat and go running off. All right, and talk shit in your league nights, but then not say the same thing, same energy when you're at the tourneys, all right? Come on the show and say it. Own what you feel. That's all we've been, pushing. While call-out summers come to an end, we are now F around and find out fall.
Wait, why'd you edit that, bro? Why'd you edit that?
I don't know. Like, it's my radio kicks in. Sometimes I say F, and sometimes I drop the whole word.
I mean, I was just making sure, because, it just sounds better. Sometimes it's about how it can be received.
Listen,
around and find out fall. Yes,
I could literally break out into a top 40 voice break. Here's the Backstreet Boys on 95. it never goes away. The avoiding the curse words, and then I do the show, and you catch me on the right week, and the hands are flying, and fuck this guy, and fuck that rule. So it's all really it's a coin flip. It's a coin flip where I'm going to end up.
That's why every time you do it, I bring it up. Every single time.
If the Eagles lose to the Cowboys, I would make sure to tune into the program after that loss because I will literally be like, dirty ESPN up in here.
I will tune in for that. I'll go live if the Cowboys beat the Eagles.
I would because Facebook's going to blow up. The cockroaches will come out of the woodwork. I mean, they lost a game they should have won this week in overtime, and yet they couldn't wait to jump on with their corny-ass memes about the Eagles. All right, so obviously you guys care more about my team than I do. So, hey, thanks, but I don't know if you looked at the standings before you made your posts, because I didn't hear any from you fuckers on the first 8 games. Not a word. Oh, Cooper Rush is going to beat you guys. Well, yeah, we took care of that, didn't we? So, keep running your mouth. You didn't beat us.
I will say about Cooper Rush, he had a rough first half. But if he doesn't get hit on that last interception, that might be a touchdown. That game could go a different way.
And I can counter with, if they call penalty on Goddard Monday night, as shitty as we played, we're still in that game. If Quez Watkins doesn't try to fucking get an extra 8 yards and just stays down, I don't know. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. We lost the game. I'm actually happy about it because now the pressure's kind of off a little bit. I don't have to hear about the 72 Dolphins. Because Eagles fans, there is a group that are completely irrational. I accept that reality. And, I was even getting tired of, well, I don't see anybody on the schedule who's going to beat us. And we're gonna go into the Super Bowl at 19 and up. Like, all right, let's relax, please. So I feel better. Jalen Hurts played well, even in spite of all the shit that went down. Good sign for us. We'll see. I mean, I always knew it was going to be a division game. I just hoped it wasn't the Cowboys or the Giants. It was the Redskins. Maybe they get refocused. They signed Joseph today. That'll help. Defensive tackle, former Pro Bowler. Little long in the tooth of 34, but as long as he's still fat, that's all we need at D-tackle.
I actually like Jalen Hurts. I mean, I hate the Eagles. I'm a Cowboys fan, unfortunately. I hate the Cowboys a lot, even though I'm the biggest fan. But Jalen Hurts, I think Dak could take some notes from him. He knows how to scramble for 3 to 4 and get down without getting hit and continuously moving the chains forward. Dak doesn't like to run. He's a little scared. I don't think he controls the game as good as Jalen does. I'm not saying, everyone should go out and try to sign Jalen Hurts. He's the number 1 QB ever. That's not my point. But he does control the game well, and he does understand that if he gets those 3 to 4 yards and gets down, he's not going to get hit. He's not going to get hurt, but he's moving the chains because 3.5 yards every play gets you a first down, and that's kind of how he plays. And I enjoyed watching that when he played the Cowboys, even though, that was a rough game for us. I was impressed. So
the thing about the Cowboys, and I'm going to say this, it'll be on YouTube after, so it's going to be recorded. I'll have to live with that. I just don't understand with the team that they have, how they keep shooting themselves in the foot. And it's not just this year. It's almost a progression, right?
Every year.
It's like, I get worried when they have a head coaching vacancy, like, oh, look out, this could be the year they hire, and then Mike McCarthy, the clapper. All right, our boy Jason Garrett, the clapper.
Wade Phillips was terrible.
But like the talent that's on that team right now, if Jerry can get over his love affair of Ezekiel Elliott and let Tony Pollard run the ball and just use Zeke on the goal line, CeeDee Lamb stepping out this year, making that ascension, and Micah Parsons is an absolute game wrecker. I'm a Penn State fan. I know all about Micah Parsons. You don't know the anger when he went to, I think it was 6 to the Cowboys. I knew the Eagles didn't have a shot at him, but, that scared me in that game we beat you guys was Micah Parsons. So I don't understand how you have this, arguably one of the better collections of talent in the league, and they find ways to fuck themselves. And I'll use the word there, Los.
Every year, man.
Like that Green Bay game, I watched it, and I just couldn't understand. I mean, I'm okay with them even going for it on 4th down, but the play call was atrocious.
Terrible.
I just, again, it's one of the great mysteries of life that you've accumulated this great job of talent. Stephen Jones gets in there, they get the O-line, they're drafting smarter now, and I can't make sense of it. Now, I mean, I'm literally not trolling. I'm being 100% honest as an Eagles fan or, a fan of football. It makes no sense to me. But anyway, I'm not worried about the Eagles. Look what happened to the Bills. All right. Minnesota is tied with us, but we're ahead of them because we smoked them. Granted, if they played, this week, it would be a different game, but nothing scares me about, Minnesota. So we'll see what happens. The thing that scares me, though, is, the Chiefs, the Bills are just handing it to the Chiefs right now. Just handing it to them. So we'll see what happens. I'm more worried about my fantasy team. I just lost, Cooper Kupp. You can't replace that. So anyway, it's going to be interesting with the Eagles losing Goddard for at least 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm curious to see what we do there. But who knows? I mean, the Cowboys are about to make a run. They just got Schultz back. I think that's going to be the key to them getting their shit together. Because he's just a sponge in the middle. He's good for 6 to 8 catches a game, and it gets their offense going.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I feel like a lot of Cowboy fans would not be happy with me saying this, but when Dak went down, I was kind of happy because I don't think this team is a Super Bowl winning team. I don't think McCarthy's a Super Bowl winning coach. So when he went down, I was kind of hoping that we would just lose 4 straight, get smacked the rest of the season. Season comes to an end. McCarthy's got to go. Kellen Moore's got to go. Dak comes back midway through the season. We're already out of it. He sucks. Everyone realizes that he's not the answer either. That was like a hopeful thing for me. And then, Cooper Rush came in, killed it. We won a bunch of games. Dak's back. He's been okay. Again, it's the same quarterback we've had. He can throw the 4 to 6 yards. He's late on every slant. He's behind on every slant. He doesn't throw the ball more than 12 yards down the field ever. And he has a great completion percentage, and he has a lot of yards because for the last 4 years, we've been down a lot late in the game, playing against prevent defenses. He's dishing it for 6. They're running for another 4, getting tackled. We're rushing to the line. He's dumping it for another 4. His completion percentage and his yards look great, but he's not really getting it done when we need to get it done, and that's my biggest complaint with him as a Cowboys fan. I know some people agree with me. I know some people completely disagree with me. I just don't think with McCarthy at the helm and Dak at the quarterbacking spot that it's a Super Bowl contending type of team.
Yeah, it just seems like pressure situations are tough for him. Although, in fairness, Hurts hasn't had one yet. The only one was last year at Tampa, and look, we weren't ready for that game. And hopefully it was a learning experience. So, in fairness, I can't say that Hurts has beat a pressure moment. Everything that's been thrown at him this year, he's passed with flying colors. We were down 14-0 in the Jacksonville game. The pick last night hit A.J. Brown in the hands before the guy picked it, so it wasn't necessarily a bad throw. It's been amazing to watch his ascension from last year to this year with the decision-making, the throws. I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping we got our guy. We don't have to go through this shit again because, look, don't let any Eagles fan tell you different. We were all about Carson Wentz. Yeah. Nobody was talking that anything. We're good for years.
The entire time.
And then I don't know what happened.
What happens when Jalen Hurts has one bad game and the whole city of Philadelphia wants to boo him and throw stuff at him and tell him he's the worst person in the whole world?
It's that irrational part of the fan base that is loudest, right? That's just what it is. And why we're 8-1? Like, what do you get your head out of your ass? If you've been following the Eagles all these years, you should know better. Because don't forget, these are the same people that gave Buddy Ryan sainthood and he couldn't win a playoff game. But hey, at least we took out Luis Zendejas on the bounty game. Like, they didn't have their priorities in the right spot there. So just keep in mind who you're dealing with. And I'm one of them. So, but I'll call out my own fans for being idiots. But hey, real quick, we're always shitting on the Cardinals. I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks in season.
You're a glutton for punishment.
Look, but there was a bright spot there, and it's my love of Budda Baker continues.
All right, I can do with that.
To watch one guy bust his ass so hard out of 11 and no one match him is kind of interesting. But to see the behind the scenes of the guy literally crying at the post game about how he's sick of fucking losing and telling everybody, like, watch more film. Dude, number one, he shouldn't have to tell those guys that, but look who we're talking about. Number two, I want to let the Cardinals fans have their moments since we always shit on them when they lose. In spite of Cliff and in spite of the play calling, old boy Colt McCoy comes out this week. Ertz gets hurt, still gets it done, still gets Hopkins his targets and catches because that's all I care about in fantasy. But, and James Conner looks like a fucking beast since he came back.
Until he gets hurt again.
But hey, let's enjoy it while we can, right? I mean, who's the backup running back now? Does anybody even know?
Who?
Does that?
Didn't they release him?
That's what I'm saying. Who's the guy after Benjamin? I only know because I listen to. Yeah, I only know because I listen to fantasy shows today. That's the only reason I know who this guy's name is.
But he was holding it down for their abysmal running game. Because our coach doesn't know how to call a game worth of shit. Can we move on? I just
want to give him their. All right,
I'm a big James Connors fan, man.
I am too. I don't want to sound like I'm hating.
Stuff. I don't know if he's like a number one back.
University of Pitt.
Definitely root for him being a Pitt guy and overcoming, a lot of struggles.
The cancer. Yeah.
I don't want to shit on him at all. I love the guy. I was super glad when they signed him. Maybe I'm not going to pretend like I'm a GM, but at this point I'm probably doing a better job than fucking Steve Keim. But nonetheless, I don't believe him to be a number one back. I just it's difficult also with his injury history. I mean, even this year for that matter, and to then just summarily release a guy because he's pissed off. That just seems such a Cardinals way of doing things for no reason, for no benefit. Because again, I saw this in an article one day or over the last week or so, and they said, so what happens when and if Connor gets hurt again? Who's going to be that back? And the Cardinals aren't deep in their backfield by any means, which is a reason why Benjamin was able to do what he was able to do. At the same time, if you look at the play calling that's been happening over the year, I'm not sure it matters all that much at this point. I'm gonna say let's move away from the Cardinals because it's a painful topic for me at all times. I love them, but man, Jesus, they make it hard for me to be a fan. I feel like I say that every year, every single year on somebody's show somewhere. I am saying it is so difficult to be a Cardinals fan because they make sure they do everything they can to make you question your Cardinal fanhood.
Well, we'll see what happens. I am getting a kick out of the fact that every time something happens, I know I'm going to be able to see it on HBO now. I will say, I feel horrible for Zach Ertz. That guy has, since he got traded, has kept his head down. Obviously, I have experience with him in Philly. It was a horrible situation to have him and Goddard. Ertz's contract's coming up. Obviously, they're going to stick with the younger guy. It was nice to see them trade him and him kind of revive his career out here. It's somebody I always root for, so I feel horrible with the knee injury. It looks like he's done for the year. That's a real one right there, folks. And if you haven't figured that out as a Cardinals fan, you should already know. But that's a real one there. That one's going to hurt more than, Connor getting hurt. But,
Agreed.
Good luck. Enjoy your win. We'll see how the rest of your season goes because I'm sure we're going to bring it up every week.
And I'm going to make the same face every single time, just like...
All right, well, I guess we should talk about some softball, but first, let me get my UFC out of the way. Had a four-fight had a four-fight parlay going. I sent it to Los because we're always texting. I was at the party for Mickey, so I had it on my phone trying to watch the fights. I had them all right up until the last fight of the night.
Izzy let us down, bro.
Watching the fight, texting with Los, and I think it's 3-1. I think he's got to knock him out. Come to find out later, that's exactly what his corner told him. Grover Teixeira said, hey, you got to drop him.
Hey, man.
And Izzy only got in trouble when he was against the fence all night. And toward the end of the fight, he got a little careless. I think maybe because he kind of rocked him a little bit and thought maybe he could. Nope. Alex caught him twice, 3 times. And Izzy was I thought it was more a flinch. Ducking, he said he had all his wits about him.
A couple of them, I was gonna say a couple of them, because he brought up the Whitaker fight, and he also brought up the Gastelum fight. I mean, he's durable even when he gets rocked, and at the same time, I kind of side with Mark Goddard. I think Goddard one of the best refs in UFC. Period. I side with him. There was no way for him to get out of that. Like, I mean, you can take a few. We're talking a minute and a half left in the round. You're basically cornered against the fence, and this guy's teeing off on you. You're ducking a couple of them here and there, but he's catching you flesh 3 or 4 times in a row. He started to look like he was losing it a little bit, then he came back, and it's hard to make that decision as a ref. And like Goddard said, it is a split decision, a split-second decision that you have to make that's based on protecting this guy's livelihood rather than, have him walk on a stretcher. Any warrior is going to want to go out on their shield. They don't want you to stop it. They want to be flat out, bring the stretcher. But I think it was a good stoppage. It was a little frustrating because the strategy that he was using was working for the majority of the fight. I think he got a little, I'll even say it, he got a little cocky and started getting
ego.
Yeah, he started feeling himself a little bit because he did almost what he did there. He did that in almost every round, was able to get out, was able to get some good strikes in, getting away, and he still, it's just that one time. And if that's not UFC in a nutshell, more times than not.
Yeah,
it just is when you get caught. You can be good, and you can be good for 4 rounds, and you get caught, and that's a loss. And hey, you let us down. You would have had some money. I tried to call it, but
yeah, it's all good. I think it's who he was fighting, the situation. He let some of the chatter get into his head about,
I think it's his size. I think it's size more than that.
That's a problem.
I don't want to say. See, I was gonna say because I don't want to say straight up. Oh, he let it in his head. Because honestly, let's be honest. Let's be real. He fought one fucking hell of a fight for 4.5 rounds, and whatever was in his head was in his head during those 4.5 rounds.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I mean, he even had Pereira in a position where we were like, wait a minute, this might be out. This might be done.
First round. He rocked him.
So I don't want to go into the. I don't want to say he may have been thinking about it too much. I want to also give Alex his credit because he did what he needed to do when he needed to do it, and he did it with aplomb. You know, and then to add to that, I'm gonna run one little piece back about it. It's hard to even say. Whenever we've seen him fight anyone of size, he struggles. Because when he fought Jan, it was the same thing. And
stayed away from Yoel.
Because again, there's a difference when you're a big, strong dude who's 6'4" versus, you know, where for all intents and purposes, Izzy's not a big 185 dude. He's just tall. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the same way where John Jones is big and tall. You know what I'm saying? Izzy's just kind of tall, and it's different. I don't want to act like he's some fucking string bean or some shit. But I'm just saying there's a big difference between an Alex Pereira at 6'4", 185, and on fight night, of course, he's at 205, 208, whatever the fuck,
right,
versus Izzy, who's walking around basically at 185.
Well,
and his weight cut like 3 pounds. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's, chat mentioned it, and I was going to bring that up. I think it was around 30-pound difference when the fight went off, and yet still
totally.
Now, listen. In fairness, Alex had to cut, so I'm sure that wasn't the easiest thing to do. But look, at the end of the day, he's got the belt. All right.
Yes.
However, Izzy wants to play it is fine because we're going to get a rematch. Izzy's even saying he thinks it's going to be a trilogy, which is fine by me because that was one of the more exciting fights. Would have had fight of the night if not for an enigma called Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier.
Oh, man, that was a great fight.
And I know we're losing Corey here, but I got to just go over this real quick. And the puppy's wonderful. I was going to ask the puppy if he had an opinion on the fight, but we can get back to that.
I didn't get in there, right?
Listen, folks, if you did not watch the pay-per-view or you're not a big UFC fan, look, have I got the fight for you to try to convert you, all right? Whatever you need to do, find a way to watch Chandler Poirier from 281, and I guarantee you, if you like any kind of sports, this fight is two guys who just went, all right, we're going to throw until somebody falls.
Ouch, bang.
It ended up being a submission, but really because Chandler literally had nothing left. He gave everything he had, and Poirier admitted he got rocked, but Chandler didn't have the last one. He couldn't put Dustin away. Dustin recovered and ended up tapping him, but man, we're talking about, like the first Ultimate Fighter finale kind of shit.
That was great.
So look, please give UFC another chance if you're not into it. That's your fight. Other than that, the card was decent. We got a couple decent fights coming up, but the big news this week, so we get out of this and Corey doesn't fall asleep on us. Basically, it's Volkanovski going up to light heavyweight to fight Islam. Man, belt for belt. They're taking advantage of Islam's rise right here. Nurmagomedov 2.0, whatever you want to say. Los and I have already talked about this, and for usually both of us at least have an opinion one way or the other on any fight, and the both of us are in the same boat where I don't know what to fucking think on this. Volk's my guy. I've said it on the show. I think he's the best pound-for-pound fighter. It was arguable with Usman. Now, obviously, it's not. Usman got caught with the kick. By far, and Dana's taking advantage of a pay-per-view that anyone who's remotely interested in UFC is going to buy or steal. I'm not going to say where. I don't know how this fight's going to go. It could be a knockout for either guy. It could be a quick submission. It could go 5 rounds. I don't know. Usually,
it's going to be a good fight.
I'm going gut right now. I'm thinking, Volk, but I don't know. So, something to look forward to. We'll be talking about it. But that's our UFC wrap-up as I blew another bet. My NFL bets were trash. this week. I tried to do a money line, and I took the Raiders, and I got to stop fucking doing that. I should know better by now. The combination of McDaniels and Carr is just trash. Sorry, Raider fans. I'm sure you're just as mad as I am. Which is a shame because the crowd in Las Vegas seems like they just picked right up where Oakland left off, and they're ready to stab people and throw them off the top set of seats there. So they need a team they can root for, and maybe the crime will go down in Las Vegas because the fans won't be that upset. You think Eagles fans are bad? Raiders fans will literally stab someone if the team loses. And it's proven. I have news reports. I did see a comment earlier, and it made me really kind of stop. How can someone be a Lions and a Dodgers fan? It's like the ultimate both sides of the pendulum there. God bless you. So anyway,
so reckless.
Let's move on to some softball shit.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to that bump list and other topics, you should plug that tournament you got coming up here, buddy.
What, this weekend?
Yeah.
We're having a little get together, kind of like a small family barbecue. The immediate families get to, but the third cousins can't make it out. We're running a little 6-teamer out of Victory. Very frustrating week. Listen. If you can't play, you can't play. But just don't tell me on Monday. Like, don't sign up. Like, I don't. Yeah, I'm bitching a little bit. I don't understand. If you can play or not. Let me know last minute. It's bad. It's bad juju. So we got 6 teams. Everybody's excited to play. So we're gonna extend out pool play and get them some games and some swings, and we'll help out teams going out to Vegas beginning of December there for the tournament.
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I'm just going for the barbecue.
I just hope they get better umps again, but I know it's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking at this point.
Hey, look, man. I'm going to say the last few times that we went to Vegas, right?
It gets worse every year.
The umps have been questionable.
Come on.
And I'm usually very ump-centric. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. The last few times that I've went, and I say few, and I say for seniors specifically at that particular situation, geez, it's been tough. It's been tough. I am hopeful, though, that it's at least... Look, you know what? If the baseline is 5, I'm just hoping we're getting 6s. I'm good with a 6. I don't expect much more than that. I've grown to understand.
Yeah. Don't get me started on umpires, man. That's an hour. That's an hour show in itself.
He's back.
Man.
He's back.
So
I was just trying not to, but yeah.
All right. First of all, I do enjoy UFC. I don't follow it at all. If I watch it or if someone has the fight, I enjoy watching it. It's a good time. I do enjoy more stand-up fighters than submission fighters. It gets a little boring when they're kind of laying on the ground. But it's still better than boxing.
Yes.
I do enjoy boxing too, but boxing kind of took a tank a little bit over the years, and UFC kind of stepped up. So all for that. I just don't have any valuable input there on that conversation, so I apologize.
All good.
So thanks for having me, first of all. I appreciate it. I did have to wear this hat specifically for Mark. The east side of the state, Philly, meh. West side of the state, Pittsburgh, great. Unfortunately, I'm not a Steelers fan. I wish, I almost wish I was. It'd be a lot easier to root for them than it would be to root for the Cowboys. But again, any dig on Philly, I can get in. I'm gonna do it. So appreciate that. I'm glad
have
that
your
you
fun
noticed right away.
Have your fun.
Great hat right here. And then so thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it, and I'm excited to discuss a few things softball related, and then obviously we'll get into some video games, I'm assuming, at some point. And
absolutely.
We'll go from there. So,
but
whatever you guys want to talk about, let's get it.
I mean, I'll take my hits. I'm not upset about that. I could talk shit on Primani and the sandwiches, and but I'll leave it be. Pittsburgh, they're hardworking, blue collar.
They used to be. The city itself is turning a little. I don't know. I don't mean this in any derogatory way.
Gentrification.
It's getting a little hipster compared to where it came from, which is kind of sad to see. But hey, everybody grows and becomes something different over time. So I mean, the mill workers back in the day, I'm sure, are turning over in their graves, seeing some of the stuff that's going on in that city right now. But at the end of the day, I miss home from time to time. The food, especially hoagies. I mean, you know what a real hoagie is. There's no subs. Subs are useless. Looking forward to going back for that, seeing some family. So there's some positives there as well still. So I'm not going to say negative things about the city.
I just went a couple weeks ago. I mean, better to be hipster than just crime ridden. I took my wife and stepdaughter back to Philly. You know, they'd never been there. And there were a lot of places where, you know, my friends back home were like, yeah, you don't want to drive through there. I was like, oh, you mean at night? And they were like, no, never. During the day too.
At all.
Yeah, I mean, my dad grew up in Crawford Village housing projects in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. You know, I love hearing stories about his childhood, kids everywhere running around, doing whatever they wanted all summer. Unfortunately, now it's so crime-ridden that we can't even drive through there during the day. So he doesn't even get to go back and see, you know, the basketball courts he grew up on, the house that he grew up in, anything like that, because we'll literally get stopped middle of day and kidnapped or robbed or shot or all of the above. So, I mean, I do feel bad about that, but, you know, things change over time, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. So I feel bad.
Like the night before we flew in, like there was a shootout at the Liberty Bell, which is supposed to be this Constitution Center they built. Right. It's kind of a no. They ran right by shooting at a guy who, and I think we're not. So we, you know, my dad's in Southern New Jersey. We had moved there, you know, when I was like, you know, pretty young. I would go back in the summers to my uncle's in South Philly. So, you know, I spent a lot of time there, but yeah, we spent a lot of time in South Jersey, and then I went around Philly and took my wife up to Valley Forge. She's a history nut, so she got a kick out of all that stuff. She was asking about Trenton, and I said, nope, nope. You can, you know, we'll drive by where Washington crossed, and that'll be it. I did see that, Marlos. I was going to ask you.
I don't even know, bro.
Is that a 20? Was that 23 and me?
One of my kids, bro. No, it very well could be one of my kids at the same time. I'm just saying.
You're a hit rapper who I don't know early in life. I don't know.
No, it really could be. No, it literally could be one of my kids because I mean, I got a lot of kids and a lot of them are old. So yeah, and I mean, it might be the one that's like running around in here for all I know. I don't, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just saying, or it could be one of my other kids. You know, there's not my kid that's like my kid. You know what I mean? I'm old too, dude.
I don't know. I don't know. Somebody, you know, pop one of those 23andMe tests or something.
Nah, hell no, not me. I follow my shit, bro. No Barry Treasure. You know, no Barry Treasure. Fuck that. All
right, let me give Corey his only compliment that I'm going to give him as far as the city of Pittsburgh's concerned. If you haven't seen it and you're into baseball or into cool stadiums, I can't believe I'm going to admit this. Pittsburgh's is just a hair better than Citizens Bank in Philly. My all-time favorite is Camden Yards in Baltimore, and both Pittsburgh and Philly are based off of that stadium.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh Stadium, it's just, I don't know what it is. The ambiance, it's amazing. You have to see it. If you're going to go,
I would recommend going a night game, and I would recommend sitting somewhere along the third base, left field line. It gives you the best view over right center and over right field in the city line. It's
and they got the bridge. They got the lights on the bridge now for the games. It's amazing. I give you that. They got it right when they built that baseball.
It really is a nice place.
And it's a shame that the Pirates do what they do every year because it'd be nice just once, you know. But you know, oh look, he's good. Let's trade him.
Yeah,
you know, he had 240 and 15 home runs. Well, we can get a prospect for him.
Yeah.
You know, the threat of money scares those guys. Like guys are 2 years away from arbitration and they trade them. They're afraid.
They have a lot of land. They own Seven Springs. They have a lot of ski resorts. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the profit. They could care less if they win or lose every year as long as they are showing green on the profit books, and that's all they care about, unfortunately. Mark Cuban grew up in Mount Lebanon, just outside of Pittsburgh. He wanted to buy the team a couple years back. They denied it. That was pretty much the most hope I've had for the Pirates in years, was Cuban taking over with no real salary cap. You know, he'd have, bought a winning team. But they denied that because they enjoy what they're doing, I guess, and it's unfortunate.
I can make all the jokes about all the teams and all the things happening, but I'm telling you right now, and the reason I will mostly leave Corey alone most of the time is because I know the suffering of being a Pirates fan, and he has never shied away from it. I've seen you wear the old school '70s Pirates hat at league sometimes, and what. So I always have to take a step back and never go nuts, because he's endured suffering that no person can understand unless you were a Pirates fan. I'm not even making that as a joke. I'm dead serious.
Pirates suck. Cowboys suck. The Suns suck.
Oh wow, Suns.
There's no
reckless.
Pittsburgh basketball team, so you know what I mean.
Don't lump that with the Suns. Suns are righteous.
A fish called Wanda.
Can't do that. Yeah,
wow, nobody's gonna know what that is. I shouldn't even said that.
Yeah, that's
Dr.
Nobody's
that movie. Yeah,
yes,
there,
and that Julius Erving. That's a connection, right? I
that's
think
the only good basketball thing that come out of Pittsburgh was that movie.
Well, maybe they can buy the Flint Tropics.
Yeah.
And all right, anyway, enough movie crap.
All right.
So
Bob Tua, let's get on it. I
was gonna say, you sure you don't want to talk about the umpires? You sure? I mean, it's an open forum.
Maybe after the bump list, I'll get into some umpiring stuff.
So so the bump list came out. A bunch of Arizona teams on there. It's every year, guys. This isn't new. I will give you some inside information because I was at Worlds in Texas for Senior Worlds, and the rumor going around was that somebody at National released the list a lot earlier than they had planned to release it. Remember, I was with the Western director, essentially, and he was caught off guard. So that's how I knew that was definitely true. Either way, it's out there now. I looking over it and what little I know, I didn't see any big issues. I thought everything looked pretty on the up and up. There was a lot of question marks for me. Obviously, the women's teams I'm not as up on, so please exclude them from that comment. But again, the thought process being, Corey, you're much more in tune with kind of the kids' divisions and what's been going on. You've been coaching. You've seen the different. I know there's been some combined tournaments. So I felt, we felt like you had a much better grip on kind of what was going on rather than us old guys just pontificating up here.
No, I've definitely seen a lot more this year up close, coaching Impact FIGA, Voters by Westcott, that team that brought a lot of joy this year. Got me a chance to get back into the local scene, see a lot of new players that I haven't seen in a few years, and just kind of be around the local game a little bit more, which was awesome. It was great. Those guys are some of the best teammates I've been around ever in my life. You get to the upper levels, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's a lot of fun playing against the best and traveling around. But there's a lot of greedy, shady people when you get to certain levels, and it's unfortunate. So it was nice to get back with those guys who appreciated every little thing that David and his dad from Impact Landscaping did for us, and everything Lottie and FIGA Chiropractics did for us, and even what Jason and Carrie did with the Westcotts. They appreciate everything, and they went out there and played every game for each other, and they weren't worried about where their money was coming from next year, or what paycheck they were getting, or if they liked this person or not. Which was awesome. Now, I will say, this kind of ties into the bump list a little bit. Tyler Weidel and I started Pandemonium in 2013. And we built a couple teams together, and then we kind of split up for a little while, and we came back together this year and built this team. And when we went about building it, we weren't going with your typical Arizona algorithm, I guess. Like, you see a lot of teams year in, year out keep the same 6 to 10 guys every year. They're all good buddies. I totally get it. You know what I mean? Like, we did it with the Pandemonium. We kept some people around because we were good friends with them. And it is a lot of fun. When you get up into the C level, when you get up to the B level, when you're trying to go to compete in Florida, if you want to be successful at a national level, you have to move away from that. There's some teams in Arizona, and I'm sure I'm going to piss some people off tonight, and that's totally fine. I do that whether I say anything or not. People are pissed off at me. So, there's some teams in Arizona that are decent. They really are, but every year in, year out, they keep the same 8 dudes, and they swear by these 8 guys, and they think they're the best, center fielder in the state, or they're the best third baseman in the state. And in certain cases, that's true. In most cases, it's just not. You're just sticking up for your buddy. Keeping 9 guys on a below 500 team and picking up 2 guys that are really good aren't going to save your team. You're not going to build a winning team that way. So we went about it a little bit differently. We took SD Lighting. We looked at their roster, which is where Tyler Weidel was on. We took their 3 best players, 4 best players that we thought, could help us. We looked at power. We talked to David. We said, hey, David, I know you sponsored this team last year. You guys were pretty good. We watched you guys win games 23-3, and then you guys would come out your very next game and lose 16-2. Like, we don't understand why that's happening, but we know you guys have talent. Would you be interested in kind of helping us build this team? And David jumped on, and because of that, we were able to take Chase, Parrott, Pine, Tommy, 4 of their best players. I'm not saying the best players, but the people that we were looking at, top players. We went to Figa. We were able to find Gio, who's a pitcher. Which when I build a team, I'm looking for my pitcher first, almost always. There's way too many people that just kind of want someone that can kind of chuck it up there, and as long as they're getting it over, they think they're getting the job done, and that is not the case. I understand it's underhand. At the lower levels, it is what it is. When you get up to the elite levels, that's why guys like Andy Purcell and Bill Pinkham and Travis Clark and Vitz and all of these guys make the money they do, because it's underhand, but they change the game. So getting an experienced guy like Gio was great. He helped us get Trey. He helped us get Big Rob. We took those 3 guys from Figa. Again, 3 top Figa guys. Not saying that they were the best players on the team, but 3 guys. And then we kind of branched out a little bit. We found Jake Smith from Hype, who was arguably the best player in D last year all around. And we found Aaron Boyd, thanks to Gio. And Aaron Boyd, and then Dre was a big fan of Aaron Boyd as well. I didn't know him. I didn't know anything about him. But he's one of the best hitters I've ever seen in softball, pound for pound. Double, single, pretty much every time. He can go on 300-foot fences, but he really never needed to. We had Trey behind him, Pine behind him, and Jake and Parrott behind him. So, like, Aaron knew his job, and he hit well over 700 this season as a leadoff guy, never using bad bombs. So incredible. But to my point, we kind of took that and we said, we're going to take the 4 best players here, the 4 best players here, the 3 best players here, this guy, and they're all going to have good attitudes. And winning brings people together. I mean, you don't have to be best friends, but if you're a good dude and you have a good attitude and you play the game the right way, you're going to make friends with other dudes like that, especially when you're winning. And if you remember, I'm sure a lot of people don't even remember this, we got smoked at Winter Nationals. We got smoked at the Southwest Invite. We played a lot of BA, AA teams, and we got worked. Waldo and I kind of said, hey, guys, look, trust us. We've been here before. We know what it's like. We're playing Classic Glass. We're playing Classy. We're playing Rally White. We're playing these teams every weekend. Give us a chance. And then, starting around April, May through all of the states, I mean, we didn't lose. We didn't lose the rest of the year. We kind of made a few changes early, ended up with that roster that we had. And they're some of my best friends now, and I didn't even know some of them going into it. And I didn't even play. I just coached. But it goes to show you, like, you build a good team with good people, you can make friends with those people and become friends with those people, but also be successful. And unfortunately, 1 year we played C's, we had a good season, we got bumped to B. I'm not saying we shouldn't have got bumped to B. We absolutely deserve that bump. Unfortunately now, 1 year and done. We were too successful, I guess, in building that team. So,
well, I mean, I think you touched on something I've been harping on, God, since I started doing shows. And I was fortunate when I first started playing ball in Arizona. I got on Disciples with David, backing up Cody Lavelle. Now, I didn't see a lot of the mound, but I didn't really care. That was a good, just hanging out with those dudes. I got to be friends with Austin and Cody, who I love, for whatever reason, listen to what I had to say, because I'm always watching pitching. Always. It's ingrained in me. I'm looking for little things. It's a cerebral thing. It always has been for me. I've tried to talk about it on the show. So even if I wasn't playing, I was always watching what Cody was doing and then what the other guy was doing to try to help the hitters. So that's when you said the pitcher thing, I knew exactly.
Right.
But guys are always, and it seems to be the majority, not everyone, but nobody's trying to put a team together at E&D with the thought of, to take our lumps and then move up together and work on it. And you can't, guys, it's twofold. First thing you kind of talked about, guys think that they can get the best talent and the best friends. You can't have both. You can't have both. You can either have a group of friends who whatever happens, or you get the best talent and figure out a way to make them gel as a team and try to win. It's one or the other. And you should have been here earlier, Ted, you would have heard my little read. We don't have time to tell you you're fired right now. The thing is, guys want a shortcut to success. They want a shortcut to winning. The team they're currently on is taking lumps. Then they see this team over here, fill in the blank. Oh, look at them. They won this tournament. They won that tournament. So they get in there and start talking to some of the players. Next thing, oh, you should come over with us. And they automatically, shortcut to winning. And they go over. And lo and behold, they get their asses kicked. Because it's not always about the talent. Everybody's got a role to play. You can't have 9 guys who can hit a bomb if you don't have 2 or 3 guys that can, Judy at Oppo. Find the hole wherever it is. Advanced runners. If you don't have those guys, I don't care if you got 11 bomb hitters. You're going to run out eventually. And then the pitching. Guys don't put enough emphasis or look at the right things when evaluating pitchers. All right, so you can throw a strike. Does your ball move? Because the good teams are going to feast on your shit if you can't move it. Because that millimeter of movement at the end of your arc, however you throw it, is the difference between a ground ball or a bomb that you didn't want to give up at that current time. Yeah. And guys don't, that's why, look, anybody who pitches and does well, I give respect to. Gio's another guy who I didn't understand when I first started watching him play. I probably read it the wrong way. And somebody who I've gotten to know a little better over the years, who I've come to just appreciate what he does and appreciate his consistency. Because that's the other problem in Arizona softball is there's a lot of smoke, but nobody ever keeps that same energy or literally gives it fire. Gio has never shied away from what he does and who he is, and that's rare. That's rare here in Arizona because you hear the whispers, but then you get in somebody and you have a totally different thing in front of them. So I just want to give him credit for that because there's so few people that do it. It's something we've strived for here whenever talking about softball. Just stay consistent.
Everybody on that team filled their role perfectly. I mean, Carl Gagey asked to come over. We told him what his role was most likely going to be. We said you're probably going to pinch hit a lot. When we're short guys, you'll play. But, that's really what you're going to be doing. And he voluntarily came over. And he pretty much hit for Gio once, maybe twice a game, every game. And he hit over 650 on the year, which, I mean, to some of you doesn't sound great. But when you're getting one at bat a game and you're hitting 650, that's incredible. That's incredible. You have David and Max, who hardly ever played, pretty much never played, but they were there week in, week out, coaching bases, pinch running, just bringing things to the table that we needed. Wodel, a lot of people don't understand, the upside on him. He can't throw more than 50 feet. He hits the ball 120 feet in the air every time. Stu, a lot of people, when we picked up Paul Dempsey, why would you pick up Stu off of a D team? There's so many better players out there that you're going to go get. Why would you get this guy? Why would you get this guy? Because guess what? When we needed to bat 10, Wodel was the first person that was going to sit himself. He didn't play all year. He played when we needed him to play. When we went to Florida, you're not going to hit 6 bombs a game in Florida. You're just not going to do it.
Right.
Stu, Wodel, we had Garrett for a little while. Unfortunately, with his wedding and everything, he ended up not being able to do so. But guys like that change the game because, 1, they're willing to sit when they need to. 2, they're going to hit the ball 100 feet on a line. They're not going to try to hit it big and get it caught up in the wind and in the humidity. And they're going to get on base. And that's why we go after guys like Stu. That's why we went after guys like Wodel. A lot of people, why would you want Tommy in center field? There's better options. Tommy steals more hits a game and cuts off more balls in the gap in the game than most people are going to get hits in a game. You know what I mean? Maybe he goes 1 for 3. Maybe he goes 2 for 4. Maybe he goes 1 for 4. That's not great, but on the backside, he's stealing 3 to 5 hits a game. He's keeping guys at first base. He's keeping guys at second base. And to me, if he's going to hit 500-600, that's not great, but at the same time, he's bringing way more to the table on the other side. Same with Gio. Gio's not going to hit, but guess what? First person to say, pinch hit for me right here. Pinch hit for me right here. Guess what? He's going to go out. He's going to get his outs. He's going to control the game. And that's what happened this year, and everyone kind of filled their role. And, there was a situation earlier at one of the states maybe. Pine was our 3-hitter all year. Pat Hester had just got back from injury. We were up 15, 20 runs in an early game, early in the day. I walked up to Pine and I said, hey, do you mind Pat getting an at-bat? No, not at all, for sure. How many 3-hitters on a C team across the United States is just going to voluntarily give up their at-bat when you're up 15 against a team that everyone's smoking the ball against, just
Right.
because, they're good people? And that's really what made a difference for me this year. And that's also why we won a lot of games this year, is because you don't get that a lot of times. A lot of 3-hitters are going to be like, hey, man, like, no, I'm the best hitter on this team. I'm going to go get my free at bat and I'm going to get my free hit because this team's not as good as us. And Pat can suck it. But that's not what happened all year long. And that's why we won a lot of games. So
Yeah, I've said it. In fact, I was going to try to do it. Taylor, Meditz was going to try to play. Him and Brawley were trying to put something together. They asked me to coach. I was like, only if I can do it the way I want, with my thought process being, yeah, there were names there, right?
Right.
There were names in C, like this guy, and I'm not going to get into it.
Right.
But there were guys who had reputation, like, oh, we got to get that guy. No. If you're going to let me do it, I'm going to go watch the Ds. And I'd seen a lot of it because, I'm real close with Goose, and he was on Flock, for the old guys trying to hold it together with the young kids. So I watched a lot of that. And, I had a pretty good idea of 5-6 guys I was going to grab from D's and pull them right up to C's if they were willing. And the thought being, again, we're going to take our lumps. But I guarantee you, if we play every month by June, we're going to be
Right.
whooping. We're going to be whooping some C teams because we're
Absolutely.
a team. And I fought with certain guys on that team about not picking up the name guys. And I said, I don't need the ego. If that guy's
100%.
believing his hype, he's of no use to me. Because if we win every game, sure, he'll be the greatest teammate ever. But when we lose, and we're going to, those are the first guys that, they're lollygagging. They're letting a ground ball go. They're not
Yeah.
getting, I'd rather build D kids, lose for 4 or 5 months, and grow together, and than
that's-
deal with that.
That's the goal. I mean, who cares about what happens in November through March? You know what I mean? More than half the country's under snow. They're playing in domes or they're not playing at all.
Right.
Arizona, Texas, Florida, like those states are lucky enough to play January to January. And that's another thing that I'll get into with the whole bump list thing about tournaments played. But besides the point right now, you want to win in July. You want to win in August. You want to win in September. And the first weekend of October when it's Worlds, that's really the only time you want to win. So if you're out here dominating teams January, February, March, I could care less. You know what I mean? That does nothing for me. None of those tournaments really matter. If you're not winning Worlds, no one remembers you. And unfortunately, that's the case. It's not awesome because we did have a great year this year. Bedlam had a great year last year. Figa had a great year last year.
Right.
MAJ has had several great years under Cholo with Nino and Jake or with Josh Moore and all of those guys. And Tooney had a couple great years. And Chiba Hut, going back to 2013 or something like that, came in 4th in Worlds. No one remembers any of them because none of them won Worlds. And I mean, I get it. That's what matters. And that's why every team that I'm a part of and every team that Weidel's a part of, our goal will first and foremost to go to Florida and try to win Worlds. So, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, there's other ways to be successful, but winning in January through March, to me, I could really care less.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's another issue where, and we've all, this is not anything new. I'm not breaking any new ground, but, again, what I said earlier about keeping that same energy, it doesn't help anybody if you, like, support a team and then talk shit on them behind their backs. Like, there's not a ton of support for teams when they travel, when they're trying to better themselves, when they're trying to go, out of state and play other competition. There's way too much shit talking behind the scenes. There could be so much support if everybody could come together, even just to root them on. Like, when you play them, cool, do what you got to do. I mean, look, Arizona's full of shit talkers. I'm not expecting everybody to be best of friends when they're on the field. But when teams go to travel, I don't understand how there's not much support. I mean, I made it a point to watch the AZ teams when I was at Worlds in Texas, and I took some heat for it. It is what it is, but that, my thought was I want them to see me sitting there to know that I'm supporting. I'm thankful they came all the way out here, and that, I'll support them as much as I can. I also told them, look, don't expect me to be jumping in, cutting people's knees off on a bad call or something. You're going to have to deal with it. But
Right.
I'm just here to support. So I don't get it. And how other people thought that was a bad move was insane to me.
Two things on that. One, 2013 was our first year playing. We went to eWorlds in Vegas, and the support we had that weekend, we came in third. We went 6-0 and lost 2 straight. It sucked. Third place, first Worlds ever. But there was 10, 15, 20 other E teams there rooting for us game in, game out, and that won us at least 2 of the games, guaranteed. So 14 came around, we got bumped to D. Woldle, myself, Tyler Thomas, and Trevor, I believe it was, went to Vegas for eWorlds the next year, and we weren't even playing. But we pretty much just looked at the schedule and found what field an Arizona team was on, and just literally sat in the front row and just yelled the whole game and just tried to get in the other team's head, because we know firsthand, how much that helps. And I look now at just how toxic of a community Arizona softball community is, and it's really bad. No one's supporting each other. No one's rooting for people's success. The teams that did well last year, continuously Facebook this year made backhanded, under-the-table comments like, oh, yeah, cool, you guys really came in third. You didn't actually win states. We did. Okay, who cares, man? You're not even playing this year. If you don't want to play and you don't want to be involved in softball, why are you still on Facebook making comments, bringing people down? The guys that want to go play conference, maybe they're not good enough, but you don't need to laugh in their faces and tell them that they suck and they need to stick to C. And you don't need to tell these guys that they're just not that good, or then they're like, oh, good luck this weekend, man. And then as soon as you walk away, they're to their buddy, oh man, he sucks, they're gonna get smoked this weekend, I hope they suck.
Exactly. And
that's Arizona to a T. It's not as bad as Colorado. Colorado is the most toxic place I feel like I've seen. They have an anonymous message board specifically for Colorado softball, similar to the old Scout for upper level, but Colorado has their own anonymous board, and they just go on there and just rip on each other behind fake screen names constantly. Luckily Arizona isn't that bad, but it's not good. I mean, there's certain people that try to pull certain people up to the next level, and then there's a lot of people that root for those people to never get up to the next level because they're worried about their spot getting taken, or maybe they're not good enough to get to that next level, so they feel like their friend shouldn't get to that level either, so they do what they have to do to make sure that that person looks bad. And it's a terrible thing. I look at Northern California. Northern California has several teams in the conference, and then the upper levels. They had a Bay Area team or 2 this year, Classic Glass. LNS Glass has been around forever. Cheap Suits has been around for several years. Right. And when I'm at those events, I mean, I played for Bay Area, so I know what it's like. I played for LNS. I know what it's like. If Bay Area wins a game, and LNS Glass is playing or Cheap Suits is playing, they mosey their way over. Trailer and Yoli and Dante and those guys mosey their way over to those games, and they sit there and root for their buddies. Now, if we play Classic Glass and I was on Bay Area, or if we're playing Cheap Suits and I'm on Bay Area or something, they literally try to kill each other during that hour to 2 hours worth of game. And I am all for that. Say whatever you want. Hit the pitcher as many times as you want. Whatever. The game's going to end. Go support your friends. Root for them to do good. If you're out of the tournament, go root for them to do good. And that's something that I've seen from NorCal that's really awesome that you don't get here ever. And that's
Los, you're still jumping in on D's. I mean, I know. Listen, I could talk about the seniors, and it's not much different than what Corey's talking about.
It's not different at all. Don't give it more credit than it deserves.
All right. Well,
don't give it more credit than it deserves.
Let me back it up. It's the same fucking thing, if not worse.
Thank you, sir.
Now?
Thank you, sir.
And being in the seat I'm in, and the director, I'm fucking insane. I was like, I need to get away from dealing with 14 egos, and went and did, and I've seen things that I didn't think I would see. Just the toxicity, and you hear things, and everybody wants to be the one to tell you this person said, no, fuck you, I shut it down. But you're still playing with the kids, so what are you seeing when you're jumping in with the D's there? Letting them know the old guy still got a little bit of pop in the old.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. I won't even go to D first, though. I'll go to E. The one thing you see is the crazy egos in E, which is almost weird, right? Because you have these guys that are so happy to preach how good they are, but they won't play up ever, and they'll it's like it's almost an automatic. You almost don't even have to respond to it. It's like, oh, I'm so good. You guys suck. You're terrible. Blah 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 blah. And it's like, all right, well, we'll go play up. Play D. Fuck playing C or something like that. You're in the E team. play D. Nah, I'm cool here. You know, this is where all my homes are. Well, it can't be both. You can't be super good. You're so much better than everyone else. You don't want to support anybody else. I think the other thing that you see a lot, especially in E, a couple times that I was playing E, you see a lot of teams that they spend the entire time worrying about how much better they are than the other team on paper or out of their mouth, rather than actually, you know, the performance of the games. Because I've watched some of these games, and I'll admit, even being in some of these games are just bad softball. It's just bad performances all the way around. But then you turn around, you look on Facebook, and you see these same guys talking as if they're, you know, fucking Frank Thomas or some shit on the field, and you're like, wait a minute, how's that work? And then the one thing that I think has gotten worse, and I think it was created for the opposite reason, but I think you'll also go with this one. The Challenge Cup has turned some of these dudes into absolute females. No offense to the women, no offense to co-ed, whatever. Just turn them into females. Like legitimately
Stereotypical females.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like straight up mean girls. Everybody who's playing is, oh, he's garbage. He must be somebody's homeboy, or oh, he's sucking him off or something like that. It's like the most outrageous shit, rather than kind of like you said, Corey, you know, giving credit where credit's due. Because at the end of the day, you can be a fantastic player, and it doesn't change what I am as a player. The only thing that's going to change me and what I do is me working at it, doing, you know, practicing, training, etc. But a lot of these guys don't understand that you very well can support the other teams and still be, you know, your own greatest fan. All you ever see is dudes saying, yeah, they're not that good. They're, you know, they need a bump, or they'll say, oh, well, you know, all those guys they should be playing up and all this other stuff. But then themselves, they'll say, nah, we're good. We're right where we're supposed to be. And it's just, you know, like I'm glad Corey touched on it, but it's difficult. You know, when I first started playing, you know, it was a blast going to Worlds and seeing teams like legitimately sitting there watching the other AZ teams and rooting for them and going for them, like, and everybody's hyped, everybody's shouting each other out and etc. And the last few times that I've went, like, you could have a team warming up to play on the same field that you're playing on, and they're almost acting like you're not even there. And that's tough, because we're all supposed to be supporting ourselves and all this other good stuff. And I think the Challenge Cup really kind of embodies that duality of people are supposed to be working together and supporting each other, but we're all a bunch of fucking crybabies, so we're going to be mad because we didn't get our way, or because the homie didn't get on, or we're afraid to accept that there are other players who are really good, even if we are in fact really good. We're afraid to accept that, and we're afraid to say, hey, this motherfucker's nice, bro. And we somehow believe that by saying so, we're taking away from ourselves. I think once we start stepping away from that, there are teams that I've seen lately who are kind of stepping away from that, who will come over and say, hey, man, y'all are nice. You're doing what you're doing. Or even after games, you know, I remember when I first started playing, like, a lot of these dudes would be like, yo, you did this and you should do this. And they kind of, you know, chat you up. Nowadays, a lot of the time you put work in on somebody, yeah, they're damn near beating your hand to get the fuck away from you, instead of saying, hey, nice, you did what you're supposed to do. It's crazy. It's very difficult to see it go that way. I don't know what we can do to fix that either, but, you know,
I mean, a lot of it's youngness. Like, when I was young and I first started playing, like, I thought I was the greatest. Like, I thought when I was playing E&D my first 2-3 years that I should be playing major. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. I didn't know how big of a difference, you know, there is between the levels. Like, you know, I wasn't good enough to be at that upper level. You know what I mean?
Perspective.
Like,
it's definitely perspective.
I thought I was great, but I was a young kid. I was loud. I was obnoxious. I mean, I was coaching. I was pitching. I was hitting. It was a little bit too much responsibility for me. And I did turn into a pretty terrible person and then developed a pretty bad reputation. Well-deserved. I mean, 2015, 2016, I'm surprised I had any friends at that point. Looking back now, at the time, I didn't think anything really of it. But unfortunately, and this is advice for younger kids, that reputation has stuck with me now, 2015, 2016. Now we're all the way almost 2023, and that same reputation still follows me around. And a lot of the younger kids that have met me recently realize I'm not really that person. I've done what I can to, you know, give back and help out. I've umpired, I've coached, I've done what I can. I do like to go out and watch D tournaments, C tournaments, even when I wasn't coaching, just because, you know, I have a lot of friends out there, and there's a lot of younger kids that, you know, I'd love to play with or, you know, play against or whatever. But I think that's a big thing. A lot of these E&D guys are in their young 20s, and we're all big egoed, crazy people when we're in the 20s. And I did it myself. Like, I'm the first person to admit I was pretty awful, but I I urge people to at least give me a second chance, give other people a second chance, and there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, both with myself and with everybody in Arizona. But the first step, like as Los mentioned, was if we don't acknowledge the fact that we're very toxic and very negative, and we're hating on each other more than happy for each other, then there's never going to be any step forward to fixing it, because we're just consistently in denial. So.
Absolutely. I do want to, I mean, real quick, I do want to say, because there's a couple things in the chat that I thought were good points. I did want to acknowledge it, because I never like to be absolute about anything. I don't like to say every, all, never, etc., because it's always wrong.
Right.
But what I will say is, yes, I heard, obviously I wasn't there. I heard about, a few of the senior teams that stuck around to support some of the other teams, which is great. And that's exactly what we're getting at. That's how it should be literally every time we step outside of our state. If there's a team from our state playing, we should be the loudest folks there, screaming for them, saying something to them, bigging them up. I'm not saying, and I know because there's morons who listen to our show. There are morons who will take this the wrong way. You do not have to.
They always do.
You do not have to suck them off. All you have to do is legitimately support them because they're from the same state. At the same time, I did hear again the same thing about the Senior Challenge Cups, that they supported each other. But I will say that's kind of built into the idea of the Challenge Cups. They want you to be very much us against the world, Arizona versus everybody, that type of thing. So to see that happen is absolutely great. But I would love to see some of those same people that we're referring to act the same way when they're here in Arizona, which they typically don't, which is a lot of the same people that we're talking about as far as senior and as far as some of these other places. So it can't be when someone's watching, I act one way. And then when it's not someone watching, then I act another. We can't do that. We have to present ourselves in a way that's going to help some of those younger guys, because it is perspective. It is showing them, learning, because you don't have the same wisdom or knowledge or experience that you have now. For a lot of us, like me, I'm 43 years old. Yes, I play kickball all the time. I play senior. I consider myself a great teammate. I would probably say anybody who's ever played with me says kind of the same thing. But there's a lot of players who are not that way, and there are players that I play with. Maybe not right now. I'm really with a good group of guys right now, but there have been players that I play with that embody exactly what we're talking about. That they'll, when everybody's around, oh yeah, they're the biggest cheerleaders. As soon as there's no one watching, then the attitude shifts, and so you start to wonder which is the right way, and then people shut down as a result. Other players on other teams, they start to feel like I can't trust this person, or I can't expect these guys to help me. Everyone hates and things like that. And then it just poisons the whole well. So yeah, there's a lot of room for us as old guys and, some of the more experienced players, or some of the guys who've, kind of bounced from competitive baseball and this and that, and right into softball. There's things that you learn, and there's things that that you can share with some of those guys so that they improve, and especially the coaches. And I don't want to let anybody off the hook right there, but a lot of these coaches are the dickheads that are doing a lot of this shit themselves, because they take that approach behind, in their little Facebook chat, in their little group or whatever, in the text chat. Then they get out to the field and they're presenting a different way. And I don't think a lot of their team players can actually do that same shift. So it comes across really shitty. But I hope people make some of those changes pretty quickly here.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on it because, listen, for the most part, let me clarify, because, again, like you said, we have knuckleheads who take one little piece of something and twist it out into this big, So let me clarify, okay? For the most part, in fact, I'd say all of them. All right, the majors division, I think because it's been so small, and these guys play each other so much because, there's only 4 teams. Or 6 teams. And BTL into that, even though they would be, the new guys on the block for last year coming up. Everybody in the majors division is pretty tight-knit, supports each other. It did happen in Texas. I saw it. So I can confirm that. So the majors division is kind of somewhat excluded from this conversation. You guys get so familiar with each other that you do exactly what we're saying. You'll talk mad shit on each other on the field. But once it's done, there's a definite respect between them. So that, that don't count. The thing I wanted to get back to real quick on the Challenge Cup, the thing that has amazed me, some of the messages I got before the rosters were picked, I went out of my way to say, I am not involved in this. Yeah. I picked the coaches I did for a reason, and the reason, that they have their own call on the rosters, because they're going to take a couple guys who maybe they think are the glue guys of that roster. Sorry, cross promotion. Anyway,
Right.
you're a guy who can turn the lineup over, can bat 10 or 11 and get the hit, turn it over. The guy who hits the Judy advances the runner instead of trying to put it out into the stratosphere in Florida, which, guys, I'm going to say it again, and Corey touched on it earlier. Stop trying to hit fucking bombs in Florida like you do in Arizona. It's not going to work out for you. We have years of data, the humidity,
That
the
ain't
field.
it, player.
How many Arizona teams have to go out to this fucking place, Space Coast Stadium, and try to play the same exact way they do at SRP and find out the fucking hard way? You're not hitting the ball fucking 350, dog.
Nah, player.
You're
Nah,
not
player.
hitting the
That
house
ain't
like
it.
you do at SRP, all right? You're
That ain't
flying
it,
out
player.
to the right fielder who took 3 steps in to catch your ball as hard as you could. You swung. All right,
And reeled
sorry.
that sumbitch in
Little-
straight up out the air, bro.
Little
Straight
rant
up.
there. Got off
Straight
track.
up.
Sorry. Major
Straight up.
division's fine. I hear the AAA guys running their mouth a little too much for their talent level, all right? It's kind of also tied in what Lo said. If you're so good, why aren't you playing up? Oh, that's right, because they won't take you up there because they heard or saw your reputation. You at AAA guys don't realize how much the major guys actually watch your shit. And when you don't get the call up and you go, oh, they just don't see me. No, the problem is they already saw you and made up their mind that you will not fit on their team. The major teams put, who you are above your talent level for the most part. All right, there's been a couple exceptions. But for the most part, if you're a complete and utter asshole, they don't care if you hit 800. They don't care if you can hit bombs well. They can get a guy who could do that, who they like
Without
hanging
being a
out
dick.
with.
Without
Right.
being a dick.
Who
Yeah.
they like hanging out with, who they can't wait to get the fuck away from you the minute the tournament's over, wherever they finish. All right? So, and that's the thing. In the Challenge Cup, I was saying the messages I got, major guys ranked trying to, well, what about AAA? And wait a minute. First of all, before we even get into your rank, like, why do you think I would, overrule a coach to do that? And the way some guys reacted when they heard, all right, through people and rumors that they weren't on the roster. The way that they reacted, and I'm not talking about anyone in particular, so if you think it's you, there's probably a good chance you were one of the people I'm talking about.
If you think
but
it's you,
there
it
were
was.
multiple
Nah, if you think it was
people.
you, it was. If you think it was you, it was.
If you think it was you, you might want to
It was.
reevaluate
It
how
was.
you're. Yeah.
Because I mean, if they look, dude, because I'm saying everything you just said right there, I didn't think for a second was me. Because I know I don't say stupid shit like that and I don't act like that. So if you think it's you, then it was. That's exactly where we're coming from, bro. Because that's the attitude. That's the problem. Is they present that attitude on the low because they could send that message to you because nobody else sees that message. Nobody else applies that message. So they could send that message to you, which is really what they are and how they feel, and that's their personality. That's them. But then they can hide the face when they get back out there. So yes, if they feel it's them that you're talking about, then it is, because that's an ugly ass trait to have anyway, and a terrible way to want to be on a team or want to be a teammate or want to be a player.
Yeah, I don't blame any of these coaches. All right, at least senior wise. I can't speak for the younger division, but I don't blame any one of these coaches for not taking the guys that did that,
or taking the ones that they did take, for that matter.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, if you're not checking your own attitude, you got bigger issues, because
Absolutely.
First of all, if you think you're that good, there's a 98% chance you are not, and there's a 100% chance that most of the people you're playing against don't think you're that good. All right, and that goes for any age, because I've seen it with the kids too. Because I like to watch the kids too. I like to see who's coming up. And there's guys I support that I've always supported, like Goose. I go watch Goose play all the time with the kids. Back in the day, they'd be like, oh, what, am I going to be on Flock? Fuck no, I wasn't going to be on Flock. The old man pitcher spot was taken. There was nowhere for me to go.
Right.
And look, I'm not hitting with these kids. I know that. Now, look, I'll tell you till I'm a cripple that I can pitch with anybody in any division. That's how I feel. Now, conference, I'm going to last about half an inning. Towing that rubber, I don't have those reflexes. Not to mention, I definitely ain't got the movement for that. But I think seeing down, I can hang pitching. I can fucking hang. Am I being realistic? I don't know. But in my head, I'm already crazy enough to even want to keep pitching with these fucking senior bats. I think I can hang. You know, but there's levels to this. Like, I go play an ISA tournament, I get 7-8 strikeouts playing ease. It's levels, man. It's not that my pitch is that much better than anybody else. It's who I'm throwing it to. I'm not.
Come on, bro. Ain't you
I'm
supposed,
not
ain't you supposed to
unrealistic.
scream you're the best? Ain't you supposed to scream now that you're the best and everybody's just hating on you?
Well, I don't
Ain't that how it
understand.
works? Come on, bro.
I'm just leaning into. I don't understand how I wasn't picked for the C Challenge Cup team.
That's what it is. See, there it is.
I mean, don't try to tell me it's because there's not a mat there. I still throw strikes.
It's because you don't suck enough dick.
That's
Listen,
what it is.
I thought it was a backside Judy. Apparently, it's a different kind of backside to get you on that team. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Louis,
anyway.
hey, Louis legit. Yeah, to credit the.
And not shit on the C team. I tried to pick a level that would make it funny.
Right.
You know, that there's no way I was
real
going.
shit.
But
No.
listen, I do believe that. I believe I can throw. I'll always be able to throw. You know, the hitting part of it is what takes me out a lot of these considerations. You know, but
You hear that,
like-
C teams 2023, dude.
Boom, boom.
Marky D, get him on the pump.
He said he got you all day.
Here's
He's
what-
the
hey,
best one out there, dude.
I
down.
can guarantee strikes. I'm not
Hey,
guaranteeing
hey.
they're going to get past the batter. I'm just guaranteeing you they were strikes out of my hand.
Hey, before it went the other
No
way.
walks.
It was a strike,
No
goddamn
walks
it.
in 23. That'll be my motto. No
8
walks in
strikeouts
23.
a game, dude. That's what Mark's bringing to the table. You heard him.
Yeah, I
He's
heard
been
it. But what is it?
223.
But what is ISA? Wreck? It's not even ease, right? It's wreck.
Brett Helmer,
Bro.
call him. Resi
Hey,
needs to back
see,
up
see?
with Travis Clark,
See?
dude.
Hey.
Marky D.
These young kids can't hit that 10-footer, drop it right behind the corner of the plate. They ain't seen an arc like that because you
Come
young
on,
bucks,
bro.
are too worried about fucking juking than you are to throw
Right.
the 10-footer. Now, granted, I got a space about that big to hit, and if it's Ricky Blue, shit, I don't know where I'm supposed to put it with a 10-foot
Oh,
arc.
hey, that
But-
was shots fired, bro.
Whoa, all right, I'll see you
Oh,
guys later.
oh,
You
boy.
guys finish the show. Anyway, and it's true, though. A lot of the U-Trip bumps don't see the 10-footer. Now, I know exactly where the fuck I got to put it.
Right.
Because I threw 14 and 15 in the league back east with no helmet, a pitcher's mound in front of me that I had to field off of. The grass
Right.
ain't been cut in 3
boy.
years. So you guys got it so fucking
You
good
guys
out here.
complain about
Um,
victory. You guys should go back east a couple of times, man. I played at quote unquote one of the nicest parks in Pittsburgh 2 summers ago, and I was like, put me in the outfield because I don't want anything to do with this infield.
But
man.
wait. Well, what about the fucking odd gopher holes and shit in the outfield? I seen guys break their ankle because there's a hole that was there, wasn't there the year before. We go back out there for the
Man.
season. Remember, we don't play for 5 months with snow and freezing
Yeah.
temperatures. There's all new holes in the fucking outfield. We had to go out
Saturday
and watch
morning,
the field.
you know, Saturday morning, Pop Warner football's going on. Monday night, softball's going on. It's the same
Damn.
field, man.
you
Rocks,
got-
thorns, mounds. You
Yeah.
got working with it all.
Fucking,
You
we
only
didn't-
get so many flat spaces out there, man.
Yeah,
You got to
we-
be multi-purpose.
Yeah, we had to go cut a chain link fence somewhere to fucking drag our fields. We didn't have one sitting there.
Right.
And yeah, I'm not going to compare to Guam. I can only imagine. But listen,
Oh,
at
shit.
the end of the day, that's just how I feel. And you should always have confidence in your abilities, but not at the expense of someone else's talent.
Absolutely.
I agree with Los. Like, for some fucking reason, guys just can't accept the fact that there's room for everybody to be good. All right? And you know, the Challenge Cup thing's another great example. Like, why are you worried about your place? Do you even know who they're taking? And I want so bad to go, hold on a sec, let me get the roster. So you're saying you're better than so-and-so. You're saying you're better than... Wow, that's funny. Okay. And then it becomes, you know, why... Like, fucking... Come on,
Why
common
make the
sense here.
comparison?
Yeah, I mean,
Why make the comparison at
Your
all?
play
That's-
should
that's
speak for
ugly, bro.
yourself.
that's a
And that's
That's
it.
a big
And
issue, though, because like you might be better than someone on the roster.
There you go.
There could be 3 shortstops better than you, and you're a shortstop. So maybe you're a better hitter than the left fielder, but you need a left fielder. You can't have 5 shortstops. So I mean, focus on being better than those top 2 shortstops. Don't focus on being better than the left fielder or the first baseman or the right fielder that you're complaining about, because that's not even who you are. Like
Even more so, you wanna focus on being the best and the better you continuously.
Right.
If you're, because no matter what, you have room to grow and you have room to improve every single step all the way around, no matter what player. And to the point that, and to another point, I think a lot of the time these guys forget the fact that there's a level of strategy to setting up your roster. I mean, like, you know, there are 50 first basemen, and of that 50 first basemen, maybe 20 of them are absolutely nasty at the plate, but maybe 3 of them have incredibly crazy range and can play 2 other positions. or
Right.
there's a lot of other things that go into structuring a roster, especially for something like the Challenge Cup. So to immediately take it as an assault on your playing as to why that other player is going is difficult to even. I mean, I understand why it happens because I know that's what people are. I'm not a fool. I've been around life enough to know that that's people. But
Right.
at the same time, there's a point where you have to look. The only thing that you can affect is yourself. And if you're not getting the credit or the attention that you feel like you should, bitching about the next guy isn't going to change that. Bitching about who the coach picked or this or that or all these fucked up ass conspiracy theories as to why this person's playing, that's stupid shit. The only thing you can do is get better. Go run. Go work on your range. Work on your arm. Work on your stick. Work on hitting backside. Work on line drives, etc. So that you're not going to a field like Victory, for example, and hitting straight moonshots into the sky.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we're going to Florida for Challenge Cup, and you guys cry. I mean, just seniors, right? There's fucking 87 first basemen who fucking crush a ball. All right, so stop trying. That's the first thing. Second of all, maybe the coach said, "Fuck that, I'm going to play small ball." So he's not taking the fuck. Because listen, a lot of you guys that hit bombs and seniors, you can't hit a fucking single. You have no back control. If
Not
you
at
can
all.
yell at me and call me I'm full of shit, fuck every one of you. I watched for a year you guys swing.
Right.
You got no fucking back control.
Man,
And when you
listen.
admit that to yourself, you're going to be a better
Man.
player. So if one of the coaches, regardless of what division, actually looks at it and tries to play strategically and goes, I'm bringing defense and I'm bringing average, and we'll knock our five in with singles and doubles all day, there's nothing wrong with that because the data backs it up after years, only seniors last year, but all the other divisions, nobody's hitting fucking bombs in
All right.
Florida.
I'm going to use that as a perfect segue to get into how I feel personally about the bump list.
Let's
The
run
bump
it.
list that just recently came out.
Run it.
Bump list. I am 100% for bumping teams every year. I have no problem with really any of the teams that Bob and U-Trip bumped this year at any of the levels. D, C. I think a couple of the D teams to C, a little iffy, because if you took those teams and you sent them out to see Worlds in Florida this year, they'd get run ruled twice, and it wouldn't be pretty. But I'm not against getting them into that next level because Bob has a program to build. He needs to push teams up to give people places to play. And, if Impact was a C team again next year, all those C teams and D teams this year would be outraged, right? Like, why in the world this team won 7 events locally?
Right.
Why are they still a C team?
Right.
I look at it a little bit differently because we dominated locally. SPS dominated locally in D. A couple of those teams did extremely well locally. I've had the privilege to see national year after year, C level, B level, A level, D level, national wise. And a lot of the teams that are in C in Arizona, a lot of teams that are in D in Arizona, no offense to you guys, I'm sure I'm going to hurt some feelings. They would go to Florida and get smoked in Worlds every single year. So why should Impact be penalized for beating up on those teams that shouldn't compete nationally? But I see the other side. They have to, or else he would lose every team in the C division if he let the best C team stay. Now, having said that, this is what brings me to where I feel should be done with the bump list every year. They bumped 23 teams this year, I think, between women's, men's, ED,
Co-ed.
CB,
Yeah.
co-ed, whatever. That's just under 300 people that were bumped, automatically bumped. You figure the top 8 people on all of those teams should be bumped, at least, the top 8. For sure, 7, sometimes 9, 10 people easily could be bumped. That takes you to 200 people right there. That leaves 100 people in limbo. It wouldn't take long for directors or a group of a committee people to look at those 100 people and say, look at Tyler Weidel. He was playing D's last year. He played C this year. He was an auto bump. He didn't play all season. He played a lot of the time. But whenever we were down to 11, down to 10, he was the first person to sit. He can't throw a ball more than 50 feet in the air overhand. He can't hit the ball more than 100 feet in the air. Is he really a B player?
I mean,
All right, so before hold on, and I want to jump in front of you because you are a director, and I want to say this because I know again I'm trying to speak to what ends up happening, which has never worked to your
changed my
benefit.
opinion because I'm
No, I know that. No. I'm not
Go
saying
ahead.
it because
Go
of
ahead.
you. I'm saying because again, we have to speak to certain levels of our audience, and I use levels of our audience. So what the problem is, and this is the problem that Mark and I talk about a lot, the directors don't have the opportunity to watch these games, and you cannot trust the coaches' stats for shit on most of these teams. So your point, because we Mark and I have had the exact same conversation with respect to senior, even kind of balancing it out to kid ball. The problem becomes, again, there's no way to actually quantify it honestly, because most of these guys fucking lie, and they will lie to benefit themselves, or they'll lie to spite others. That's the difficulty there.
And that's
Sorry,
where
now, Mark.
I mean,
Sorry.
to an extent,
the toxicity is gonna funnel there, and that's the only thing I'll say as a director. Okay, and I have it much easier. I have much less teams to watch. All right, and I have trouble catching games with a 14-team tournament. That's just seniors. So now let's go EDC. Let's just say EDC is a tournament, and they get a really good turnout. Whatever makes out 14 teams in division. However, I can't imagine. All right, I'll put it this way: can it be done? Yes, but there's only one way, and that's you would have to create a committee, which means guys would then need to focus on watching these teams rather than play themselves.
Right.
All right, that's the first thing, and then because you can't leave it on the director because there's so many other things that are happening over the course of a tournament, it's impossible. It's impossible. And I speak because I tried to rank all the players when I was working somewhere else, and I had a real tough time watching games. I wasn't even doing day of operation.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you could, the only way I see it work is if you could somehow get a committee of guys who had played ball and understand ball, and then could focus on watching everybody for, say, 3 months.
okay.
And I don't know
Period.
if that's
Not even.
possible. That's
Here's
all.
my counter to that. You keep saying everybody.
Whoa.
Hey, you muted yourself.
Yeah, I think you got aggravated. Oh, wait. There we go. Is he
Yeah, I
back?
think you plugged. I think you pulled the plug, or it disconnected just slightly.
Yeah,
You're getting a little feedback.
rookie anger.
Rookie move.
He said-
Look at this
yeah,
guy.
that's rookie anger.
Look at
All
this
right.
guy. He
I'm
might be
there
a
we go.
legend
so
of
frustrated right
softball,
now.
but, you know.
Okay, I'm talking about one C team and 6 men's D teams gets bumped.
Yes.
Those teams got bumped for what reason? Because they were winning events every weekend. So you're
Yes.
telling me that these directors aren't watching the final 2 to 3 games?
They're not.
Vibe, hype,
No.
SPS. Those guys are playing in the top 3 games, top 4 games every single weekend. They don't have an idea of who the top 3 guys versus the bottom 3 guys on those teams are.
Idea, yes, but I would even say that I've been there sometimes, and there's no directors watching shit.
No, they
have to. I agree with you. They would have.
They
to.
should be, right?
I agree with that too.
That was my
Absolutely.
point of saying if there was 23 total teams and you're averaging maybe 12 a team, you're just under 300 people. And if you're going to, those top 8-9 people aren't a question. That's
Of
where
course.
that last 2 to 5 people per team come down. And if they were bumped because they were on a team winning. So you were seeing them week in, week out. Like Trey Paulson, amazing player, was on FIGA last year, auto bump to B. Played C again this year, auto bump to B again. I'm not saying he shouldn't be elite. So if you're going to, you know what I mean, just instead of leaving him at B, you could make him be elite. And then you look at someone like David Grosvenor, who sponsored us all year, got 15 at bats all year. There's no reason for him to be C elite or B. He should be C because that's just what he was. He was our sponsor who was on the roster in case we were short guys or we needed a runner.
I
And
saw
you
what you laughed at. I saw
Sorry.
what you laughed at.
Sorry.
I saw what
This
you. I
happens,
saw what you
Corey.
laughed at.
Yeah. Corey,
It
this
wasn't what
happens
you
often.
said, Corey. You were on point. No, you were
No,
on
no,
point.
you're
completely.
fine.
and that's
Totally,
100,
totally.
that comment's 100%.
Yeah.
I get what they're saying, and they need to count their money because they need to be able to pay their umpires and they need to be able to have their prizes sorted out. And I get that, but we're playing 50 weekends a year in Arizona.
Yes.
50
Yes.
weekends a year. D gets 40 events minimum a year. C gets 12 to 15 events a year. B gets 6 to 8, 9 events a year. Like, these teams are playing constantly. You know who these guys are. So for it to be like, well, your team was really good and we bumped you to B, so all 15 guys on Impact are B players,
Agreed.
that is where I have an issue. I don't have a mind bumping the team. Bump the 6 teams, bump Vibe, bump Hype, bump Flock, bump whoever you bump, Hoodrich, bump them, but at least give them a chance to where some of their team now is in the right division the following year. This
Right,
guy is
so
C elite.
those,
This guy
those
is
lower
B
guys
elite.
don't get trapped. And I hear what you're saying. I've seen it happen. One quick thing I just want to bring up real quick. No one ever said you have to win a tourney to qualify to get bumped. Just
Not
I
at
wanted
all.
to clarify that.
Not at
So
all.
if that's your criteria, then your argument is flawed. Okay?
Right.
Let's say you never won a tournament, but your winning percentage is 820 or 850.
Right.
Maybe
So
you're getting a top 5 every single tournament.
Yeah,
every
so
single tournament
if you
you're in the top
finish
3 or
second
something
every
like that.
if you finish
You
second
don't
or
have
third
to
every
win, but just
tournament,
dog walking everybody.
yeah, so just easy now, and a lot of people do that. It's not just you guys, all right?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't win the big tournaments, or they didn't. Whoa! Winning a tournament is not the be all end all to get bumped, and I hear that in seniors all the time.
It's
When you
obviously
can't-
an easy way. It's
Yeah,
the easy button.
yeah.
It is the easy button though, because
Yeah, like-
they're winning. Okay, boom, bump them. Cool, we get it. But it's not that at all, or else
No.
we'd only have one team every. We'd only
I
have
think-
a couple teams.
There were teams that got bumped to C from Arizona.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to see Vibe play. I couldn't even tell you really anybody on that team. I apologize to you guys. I don't really know your team that much. Hype, I know a couple guys on the team. Hoodrich, I know a lot of the guys on Hoodrich. Hoodrich was a big argument as to why they got bumped without winning this, that, and the other. Bug has been playing softball for 20 years. He's one of the best hitters I've ever played against. Maybe not so much now. He doesn't try as much as he used to. He doesn't take his BP. He's not playing league 5 days a week. Flowers was a top pitcher in the C level at Arizona at one point. Like, Coolis is an upcoming player. Damien's on the D Challenge Cup team. Law's been an amazing player, one of the most underrated players in the state for years. I get that they didn't win, but when you look at who they have on their roster and you look at the trend of how teams have just been crazy pushed up over the last 3 to 4 years, because when I started
automatic.
in 13, there was 2 D teams and everyone else played E. There was
Yep.
nothing
Right.
else.
Yep.
AZGM or AZM, AZ Merchants were a B team and they didn't even really last. There was Chiba Hut and My Auto Jack and maybe Air Express or something, and then all E teams. So
Yep.
I get back then that's why Hoodrich would have a problem getting bumped. Now, with the amount of teams that get pushed up every year, I get they didn't win a lot, but look at who they have on their roster. But
Coupled with their percentages.
that also goes back to me saying, like, look at Flowers. He's a great player. He could easily be a C elite type of player. And whoever Hoodrich's bottom 2 to 3 players were could easily be D elite. I'm not saying that you should let them go play E because their team got bumped. They should certainly not be all the way back down into E. But you could look at their roster and pick 2 to 3 guys out of that team and say, yeah, they should definitely be D elite. Brian Ketcherside and Frank Smith are great players. They didn't really play for Standard Plumbing all year other than some pitch hitting situations. So they're
Right.
going to get bumped to C now because they were pinch hitters every once in a while on Standard
Right.
Plumbing. That makes no sense to me. That's where my issue with the bump list comes in. It has nothing to do with the teams that got bumped. I'm okay with bumping as many teams as you want because at the end of the day, once January 1st hits, you're going to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 people begging to get reclassed.
Yeah, I was just about to
Just
bring
look
that up.
at those
yeah.
original people
About to
that
bring
got
that up.
bumped off the bump list first. That gives you November and December to get through 300 people, realistically less than 100 because you know those 200 people are originally going to wipe up. And if you are on one of those original teams that got bumped, you cannot submit a reclass January 1st. You were
Agreed.
already looked at immediately when you got bumped at the end of the year. That saves how many requests from coming in when January 1st hits, and then at least makes people happy, like, hey, at least I was considered. I know
At least I
I
got
was
a
on a
chance.
really
At
good
least I had a
team,
chance.
but
Yeah.
at least now I'm D elite instead of C. Or hey, I'm C elite because I pinch hit on the best C team in Arizona last year once a game. Now I'm a B player. What C team is going to use me as a chip? And what B team
Right.
is going to pick me up
Right.
to play?
Right.
I got
Right.
one at bat a game last year, and now I'm going to take a year off of softball
Right.
and not get to play after paying all their money 30 a weekend in E, getting to D, paying their $30 a weekend in D, paying their $30 a weekend in C. Now they're all of a sudden they don't get to play anymore because they were
Right.
on a team that was good.
I agree.
And now you're going to go back to favoring the few D teams that bitched about Standard Plumbing all year because they were too good. You're going to favor those teams. You're going to favor the teams that bitched about allowing Classy and allowing Riley White into a C tournament, or else they're going to drop out and play. And you're always going to be like, okay, fine, we're going to favor you because we don't want to lose you as a customer because all you do is complain all the time. So sorry, Riley White. I know you guys started in E and have paid your money for the last 7 straight years to us, but because we're really focused on this one C team who's too scared to play you guys get to play once every 2 months. That's bullshit.
Preach it.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. All I'll say is, yeah, that's a tough. It's a tough argument, but the problem is there's such. I mean, listen, and I'm speaking in generalities here. It would take a lot of work. It can be done. It can be done, but from being a director on this side of it now, because I was always the guy, you know, that's bullshit. They should work harder.
Oh, for sure.
Well, now I'm on the other side of it. It's like, well, now I kind of see some things a little differently.
A lot of red tape, a lot of things to get through.
A lot of difficulty.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot of man hours. I mean, no matter what we're saying, that's a lot of man hours.
Yeah, and take it from me, because I usually don't mind, you know, putting my head on the chopping block if I believe in something. You know, it takes a lot to be the first guy to step out, right? To step out, because I come up with these ideas, and I talk to people I trust, and I think I got it all figured out, and then I roll them out, and then I literally get fucking trash thrown at me and bombarded with either stuff I didn't think about or reasons why people say, well, you can't do that because I feel, you know, all personal feelings come into it. Very complicated.
Well, the thing about
sometimes, again, you know, there's no perfect system, but sometimes, you know, you got to avoid the personal in it and just try. It's a greater good situation. I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate a little bit.
There can't be personal in procedure. And I think that's what makes a lot of the people who are making those complaints, making those silly, selfish ideas, they're looking at it purely from what they want and their personal, and they'll say it and not even realize that they're saying it themselves, but their personal opinions. The procedure can't be predicated entirely on personal. My personal opinion is, that can't work because your personal opinion will be so much different than everyone else. Everyone has an asshole and they all stink. You know, it's the same conversation, same concept. So it's difficult to look at it that way.
If you're going to insult me and say Phillies, at least spell it right. You illiterate piece of shit, whoever you are.
I laughed at that when it came in.
You lost the joke when you spelled it like it's a bad fucking sandwich shop in Arizona trying to sell off Phillies shit.
Oh, you can't talk negative about Phillies when Max Pincus is
L. I don't even know who it is. Take the L.
All right.
Corey doesn't want to be a director. I don't know who posted that, and that's great. I'm telling you from experience. You had to do it twice. The joke's over now, dummy. Trust me, I like Corey. And I'm not going to let him become a director. He doesn't want this. No. Trust me. None of you all talk a good game, but I know 85% of you would fucking not last 3 months.
It's a tough spot to be in. I mean, I don't envy Bob. I don't envy you guys whatsoever. I mean, I can throw my ideas out left and right. I talk to Westcott from time to time, and I get guys like Westcott, guys like Mark. He's played the game. He's been on the other side. Now they're on the director side. They see how difficult it is to actually get things done, and they also see why certain things don't get done. And I totally understand that. But at the same time, I'm going to always listen to what everybody at every level tells me, and that happens quite often. And I summarize those things and put them into bullet points, and then that's where kind of my posts on Facebook come from, is a lot of people bringing those things to me. So I'm asking from a player standpoint to the directors. I'm not doing those things to piss you guys off. I'm not doing those things to rub your name in the dirt. I'm not trying to cause trouble. I'm basically giving you free insight into what your customer base wants. And fortunately for you guys, U-Trip is king in Arizona. It's the only thing that's here. You have Harlem a little bit, and that's it. You don't have One Nation. You don't have NSA. You don't have WSL. You don't have Freedom. You don't need to do anything to sway teams from leaving your association, because it is the only association in Arizona. And that's totally fine. But when I give you these free insights into what your customers want, and then you just basically turn around and say, sorry, that upsets a lot of people. Absolutely. And it always comes back to me, and people think I'm the guy and I'm the bad guy and whatever. And I'll always take that role, and that's totally fine. But I'm not just coming up with this stuff out of my ass. People are bringing this to me, and I'm bringing it up as saying, hey, Bob, this is what people are interested in and would like to see. Maybe since these people are paying and playing your association every weekend, just consider X, Y, and Z from time to time, just to make certain people happy. And I brought this kind of up. I literally have been playing in Arizona since the very end of 2012. The amount of times I was allowed to play U-Trip this year in Arizona, I believe, was 2 times. Southwest Invite and Winter Nationals. Prior to after Worlds, obviously the off season's one thing. For me to be an Arizona person who's played in Arizona year in, year out for the last 9 years, to physically be allowed to play in the state I live in twice sucks. So that's where some of my hostility comes from as a player who wants to play and wants to play with the new upcoming D players and wants to play with my friends in C and wants to play in general. I'm not physically allowed to play because of the way the tournaments are set up. And I'll take this one step farther. And as I coached a C team this year, C teams in Arizona get the short end of the stick, in my opinion, every single year, because if they play a C-only event, they get 4 to 6 teams in their tournament. That sucks. If they play a BC tournament, they get 6 to 9 teams, but they're probably going to play Classy or Rally White or Impact their first game and be sent down to the losers bracket and probably not win the event. Because D teams get their own event every single weekend because they have 20 plus teams to make their own event. And I get that. But at least once every 6 weeks to 2 months, let C and D combine so that those C teams get a chance to be the top dog in a bracket that has more than 6 teams, where they're not having to play a B team first, or they're not having to play pool play because there's only 4 C teams in the tournament. So as a coach of a C team, that would be my one ask for 2023. Let DC combine, and yes, you're going to lose some D teams that weekend, but D teams get 40 weekends a year. They can sit out one time and play the following weekend.
It doesn't sound too... Now, granted, look, I'm speaking from an outside-in perspective, all right? So I don't know exactly, but that doesn't seem too crazy. There's a lot of tournaments, thrown together, especially in the off-season. I don't know why that couldn't happen. It would give the C teams a chance maybe to try some new guys out if they got to make some changes on a roster, something like that. Maybe have like one amnesty tournament in the off-season so, the higher-ups could have tryouts, and if a guy doesn't cut it, he doesn't have to get his ranking changed. Stuff like that should be discussed. I want to go back to something real quick. Guy said, does my ranking change senior-wise playing with the kids? It can, and here's where it gets a little tricky. Currently, the way the rule is stated is if you're B, elite, or higher, you have to play majors. They have not officially accepted the change of divisions and seniors. I know we talked about competitive and recreational. That's not official yet. So as of right now, if you're B, elite, or higher, you can only play major and above. You cannot play AAA. As it sits right now, just to make it clear. As far as not playing 2 years in U-Trip, it's a case-by-case basis. You can't put a black and white general thing on. If you haven't played in a year, you should not. If you haven't played in 2 years,
then everybody would cheat.
You have to go back and look. So if you played fucking conference and then took a job somewhere or whatever and didn't play and came back, should I just rate you E? It's case-by-case in what you've done in your career.
Of course you should. What are you talking about? Isn't that how it works?
Just be happy there's division.
Right? I thought when you take time off, it just erodes, kind of like like in a video game, you have time decay, and it just decays away.
So and there are guys that have done that. There are guys that have tried that at the senior level, right? Like guys coming in 39 and a half or whatever, and be like, "Oh, I'm AA or I'm AAA." Not if I have anything to say about it.
You are, buddy.
You know what I mean? And trust me, I've tried to come up with some kind of system for bumps that accounts for everything I think it needs to. And after a year of pounding my head into a brick wall, I'm literally down to just a simple mathematical equation is the only way it's going to work. Between the bitching and complaining and some legitimate points that got brought up, there's no real good way to do it where everybody's going to agree. So I'm going to take human out of it, and it's literally going to be numbers. If you hit this number, you go up. You hit this number, you go down, and that's it.
So, Mark.
Oh, boy.
Listen, I got a question for you. All right. So, who's getting bumped in senior, bro? Who's getting bumped?
You want to do the fantasy? Let's do the fantasy bump.
That's all I'm saying. Who's getting bumped?
if there was no equation and we're just bumping because I feel like it,
The site
you know,
test. This
I'm
is
gonna
all
lay
site
it off
test.
right now. All
Yeah,
right, so
site test.
Sonoran, welcome to majors.
Yes, sir.
Sam Baggers, welcome to majors.
Yes, sir.
For him, welcome to majors.
Okay. Wait, but they already have a major team.
Well,
So you're
now
gonna
they're
put
gonna
both?
now they're
You're
gonna
gonna
have
put
to. I don't care about the sponsor. I care about the team.
Hey, look here, bro. I'm just asking. I don't play
You
for neither one
said,
of them damn
you
teams.
said
Fuck them, dude.
fantasy bump. Well, look, man, I can't, you know,
Hey.
well then, you know, switch out your players to keep it a
All
AAA
right.
team. But right
All
now,
right, I'm just-
those
I'm just
guys
telling them. Okay.
against, you know, not individual ranking, team ranking, they're
Yeah.
up now too. So
Okay.
that's 3. Was that
Okay.
3?
No, it's 4.
Was it 4? Sonoran, Sam Baggers, A1.
okay.
Who else did I say?
No, you're right. For
so
him.
let's,
Well,
let's
but for him is not A1, so that's 4.
I didn't say A1.
You did right now.
Okay, well,
You did the
A1.
second time through.
You know what? So I don't fuck
You're
it up
confusing
anymore.
him.
A1, you
I
can go
know.
up too. A1, you're major too.
Stop
That way I don't
confusing him,
screw it
Russ.
up.
All right.
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
old, man. Don't mess with me like that.
Hey, I do it to him all the time too.
So let's just bump those 4 right off the top of my head because I
Okay.
think at different points in the last 6 months they've all played at the level that they could compete at
required.
majors.
Okay.
Fantasy
okay.
booking here. Although I'm sure I've already got fucking 18 messages. What do you mean we're bumped?
Yeah, that's why I did it. Hey, that's
I know
why I
that.
did it because I
And
know
that's why I
Make
threw.
your
they're
life
gonna hit
miserable.
you. They're gonna hit you up. They're not
Oh,
gonna
I
hit
know.
me up. They're
I
gonna
know.
hit you up, and I'm
Do
gonna
you
laugh.
think,
So that's why
do you
I'm
think
saying.
for one fucking minute I won't somehow find a way to make you feel some of my pain? And I
But
play
you know
right
I'm gonna
along.
laugh. I'm just
I
laughing
play
at
right
it.
along because you know what I can do now? I go, watch the show. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no.
Exactly.
Watch
Exactly.
the show. I'm
Exactly.
not even going to confirm or deny whether you're bumped. Watch
Alright.
the fucking show.
All right, so somebody in here says Toto Madre. Do you agree?
Shit, they haven't been playing, so I forgot about them. Toto would go up.
And then I would say,
and,
what about
and
Puro?
with Tota, Puro would go too, even though
Okay,
both teams haven't been
okay,
playing as much.
okay,
So let's
okay.
do 6. There's our new
Okay.
major division. Let's
I like
go.
that. I like
Fantasy,
that.
fantasy booking, right?
Right,
Fantasy
that's-
booking.
Yeah, we're just
used to-
presenting what it would be if we could do it the way we would like, or you know,
You're not,
it's a
you
different
young
world.
guys won't understand this, all right? But fantasy booking was, you know, what if Flair and Hogan actually could wrestle?
Right,
Now,
right.
for you young cats, you might actually get your fantasy booking of Rock and Roman Reigns. It's a thing we do. Now, the problem is that guys tune in, or people are going to start sending messages in team chats, and oh shit, we just got bumped, without fucking putting any context on it that we're completely screwing around,
messing
and
around,
I'm going to
man.
be trapped in DMs for 3 fucking
I already put it on
Somebody-
Facebook. It's official. Mark said.
Yeah, see, there it is. See, there it is.
There
There
we
it is.
go.
I
There
made
it
a,
is.
I
There
made a
we go.
post.
Look,
Yeah.
Well, one thing I wonder though is I know we spent a good amount of time talking about, and Corey was very very eloquent in describing sort of the situation with with the B teams and the higher level teams and how there's 4 teams in there or something like that. And it was funny because it literally echoes exactly what's going on with major over in senior. In that, there's basically 4 teams and they're basically playing a couple pool play games and they play each other and then over and over and over and over and over. And then when you do get a situation where the idea is, hey, let's play against a grain a little bit and let's play a couple extra teams in here. Let's play a mixed bag. You get a lot of the coaches, a lot of the players complaining because yes, they're having to play a major team their first game in pool play, or they're playing a major team in the first game of the bracket, and they're basically shot in the foot before the game starts and that type of thing. So I wonder again, I go back to even the fantasy aspect of what we're talking about. It blows my mind how people get upset about that. Because all we're really saying is you're a really, really good fucking team. And the idea, at least I thought, was as you get better and you continue to win and you're a good team, you want to move up. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying I like to talk about the folks who are the people that you're targeting. Those are the folks that are, when I say target, those are the guys who are the top 5. Everybody likes to pretend because AAA will have like 30 teams in it. And I say this all the time. I say, okay, so 5 of these teams are basically the teams. They are the predators. They're the apex predators right there. Then you have about 10 or 15 teams that could be, they're kind of on the urge. They need a player. Something could change. Then you have like 15 teams that are just basically food, and they go out every tournament, and they play each other, and then they eventually get sprinkled on and sent home. But that I don't understand why people are so happy about doing that. Like I would want to get better, and then that way, if I'm just moving from food to the good teams, or I'm moving from the good teams to an apex predator, my next move seems like it would be, let's move to a different division. But I understand other people don't do that, and they don't like it, and they get mad, and they want to be down. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah. Who? By the way, you shouldn't have said anything because I forgot about who's next. Since I can make all the calls here without any retribution, you guys are fucking major now too.
Get them.
Bump
Get
them
them.
up too.
Get them.
So,
hey, but I respect who's next because they started off in major. They were like, "Oh, we'll run major first," and you know,
They
and then,
took their
and then,
lumps. They took
yeah, I
their
love that. I
fucking
respect
lumps. That's
I respect
all.
that.
You know, it's.
Corey,
it's-
I think this.
it's,
I think this question right here is actually for you.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna hit the bathroom because we're doing a marathon show here. I'll
Yeah,
be
we're
right
just
back.
about. Yeah, we were just about wrapping up as it is.
Well,
but
wait till I get back.
yeah, we'll be back. Yeah.
Okay.
So the question I think is for Corey, and it may not be, but either way, do you have an opinion on what top finishing percentage at Worlds should be an auto bump? Is it dependent on the number of teams at Worlds?
It's always been 10%. That's
Yep.
kind of been the generic. So if there's 100 team, top 10 teams, if,
Yep.
if there's 50 teams, top 5 teams, whatever. And I think that's a good number. I mean, funny thing, this year we played a team from Illinois called Bum Rush. They won, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 One Nation tournaments. They won One Nation C Worlds. They had only played 2 U-Trip tournaments the whole year. There's no U-Trip in Illinois. So they were the best team that we played, I think, all weekend. We beat them by 1. They didn't get bumped to B. We did. We happened to beat them early in the tournament. So if you look at just that final finishing percentage, that team's never going to get bumped, although Impact wouldn't have got bumped either. So I'm definitely okay with those top 10 teams 100%, top 10% teams 100% getting bumped. But a lot more things need to go into it. But then, like I said, like that Bum Rush team, they're winning 7, 8 tournaments in One Nation, and they're not winning really anything in U-Trip because there's nothing in U-Trip to play there. Mm-hmm. Whereas Impact has been playing U-Trip since January every single weekend, week in, week out. Their power ranking's very good. Their points are obviously number 2 in the nation. We're beating every Arizona team consistently, and we came in 13th at Worlds, so we're automatically looking at that bump. Now, I will say this. Going into Worlds, whether we finish in the top 10% or not, we were getting bumped, right? We could have went 0-2 in Florida, and we did go 0-2 in GSL in Vegas, and we were getting that bump either way. So then it kind of goes back to, those top 10% teams should get bumped, but at that point, it doesn't matter, because if you're going to go 0-2 at Worlds and still get bumped, then you know what I mean? Like, it's just too hard to say. There's not a set system. I'm not saying there needs to be an ingrained set system, but I also think that kind of goes back to why I said if a team does get bumped at year end, whether it's their finish at Worlds or whether it's their points or their ranking or what they did throughout the year, I think an individual checklist should be performed for those teams so that certain players don't get left in limbo, as opposed to just team success. So that's the last thing, I'll kind of say on that.
That was good. That was very solid. Still very solid. I agree.
Fat yoga works for me. If that's what
Mark,
you want
I left it up there because I didn't want it to scroll away by the time you came back. But,
no, I was literally trying not. Listen, I'll be dead honest. We keep it real here. I was trying not to pee myself. I'm just being completely honest here. I'm getting a little older. I can hold it like I used to. I didn't want to just poof all over the floor here.
It's been 2 hours. I'm sure people are getting bored. I have dinner already, so I mean,
it's about that time. I was definitely gonna I was just gonna say that I was gonna put up our typical, time to go get the fuck out of here. Oh, and lately, actually, it's just been
real quick. Video game. We didn't even touch on video games yet. That's where I actually met Corey.
Yeah, hold on. You see that? You see that alley? You see that alley oop, bro?
Yeah.
And now you see the second alley oop right there. Come on, pun intended. Get me with it. Come on. Because Corey's always griefing. Corey's always griefing Rodney about 2K.
Yeah, I mean that's the issue, really, guys. It's 8:30, and I've gotten 16 messages from Rodney about being in the wreck, so that's really why I gotta get out of here. He's pretty upset with you guys.
Fucking right, bro.
Rodney needs to know where his priorities lie here. Maybe if you hit a couple jumpers instead of going 2 for 17 behind the line, Rod, we wouldn't have this problem. Learn how to do a better player build, bro. You're getting fucking run in the rack. Come on.
Wow. Well, we'll have to have you back on.
I would love to come back on. I'd like to definitely talk about how things shape up the rest of the year with the off-season stuff, but then definitely get into some gaming and maybe a couple other things I'd like to hear.
It's been a while, but I did run Apex with Corey for a little bit there back in
We
the day.
did.
Marlos and I play
Hey,
Apex all the time.
hey,
let me know.
Hey, it's real. Let's get it.
Definitely.
know.
I still got you on the friends list. We can figure something
Hey,
out.
I have a Wraith heirloom, so I'm ready to come with it anytime. Just let
Okay,
me know.
okay.
I've been running that Vantage, and I'm.
The question
I'm
is, are you a
somewhat
bald-headed
respectable.
Wraith? That's the question. Are you
I have
bald-headed
I have a
Wraith?
couple Wraiths. I don't even know what my main would be now. There's just so many options now. So
okay.
it also depends on what you guys are running, right? Because if you guys are a
True,
slower
true.
team, I'd run Caustic. If we're trying to get up in it, then I'll do something else. So we'll just have to
Man,
get.
I'm gonna
into
give
that
I'm gonna
another
give I'm
time.
gonna I'm gonna give Mark some cred on the show so everybody hears it. When Mark and I first started playing Apex, Mark was like molasses. And I unfortunately I got sons that are 18, 17, 18 years old. And so of course they're all push like crazy. So I started learning how from them. I'm like, hey, push. So when I started playing with Mark,
Yeah,
I would
I'd
be
loop
going
forever.
fucking nuts because Mark would be like, I'm just checking this out. I'm like,
Well,
what the fuck are you doing, bro?
No,
Like,
but then
what are you
you'd run
doing?
into a fight, and I'd be like, I think there's a
You'd be like,
301
I'm
over
coming.
there, and
You'd
I
be like,
just
I'm
veer
coming.
off to check it real
Yeah.
quick, but I'm not quick.
Right.
So I'm already going to be way late, but now I veered off from where they're running just to,
Man.
I could get a little more ammo. Or
Man.
maybe there's an
We will
anvil
get
receiver in there,
all
and then they're
in
already
this.
dead, and I haven't even checked the gun.
Next time
real
Back
we're
in the
on,
day.
we will
Yeah,
talk.
he's
all about
gotten way better. He's gotten so much better because now
He'll
he's,
give a chance.
he's not wandering for random attachments and shit. He's kind of sticking in there, and he's even starting to push a little bit now. Like there's been a couple lately where I'm like, oh shit, all right, let's get it in then, and I love it. That's why I had to make sure I said it out loud because I know one time I did say, I'm like, Mark's all kind of slow. He'll be out there fucking treasure hunting and shit, and I'm over here getting lit up, and he's just like, oh shit, I thought I saw a turbocharger over here, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking down, bro. He's like, oh, but I need some ammo, dude. What the fuck?
loot the dead body, Mark.
Man,
It's-
he's gotten
it's-
so
listen,
much better, though. It's fucking
I've gotten
great.
away from that. I've learned that I need to be somewhere close to fucking fire. Running Vantage, which is a new character. She's got a sniper rifle as her
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
Has made my life so much easier because it's a nice balance between I can scout ahead or I can pick shit off and they can rush once I've broke somebody or down somebody. That's
Yeah.
made it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I just learned, and shit. I played Warzone with Ted today and didn't embarrass myself. That alone is an accomplishment. I actually
Dude.
saved his ass in one game. That never
Dude.
happens. I'm the human in UAV in the old Warzone, so I'm feeling myself a little bit.
I
It'll
love
go
it.
back down
I
to
love
my
it.
0.8 KD, but
I love
hey, I
it.
remember we used to run Apex, and Los and I have been playing it constant. So
So get on it, man.
yeah, we got to get you
Yeah.
back on Apex.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you, Miriam, for letting me waste 2 hours of the night while she made dinner. I'm very
Yes,
excited
yes.
to eat it. She cooks.
Shout out to
all the
her.
time.
Shout out to her from
She's
us.
the best. Thank you to Impact Figa, Photos by Westcott this year for the C team. They helped us, and then obviously Mark Patterson, Competitive Edge, has really helped me this year with bats. Everything else, he's been one of my closest people in softball for years. So congratulations to them in winning AA. If you haven't tried swinging Suncoast, especially this Competitive Edge one, let me know. I have quite a few I can let you guys try. The new line will be dropping soon. Let me know. I can help you get you some bats. And then if you need any blinds, shutters, shades, let me know. Boyd's Blinds. Running
sir.
that now.
Wow! All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys. I can't wait to come back on. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for everyone. Hope I didn't annoy too many people.
Nah, man, you
and
good. We
They'll get over
appreciate
it.
having you, man. Fuck them
They
if they
always
don't
do.
like it.
Yeah, they always
sir.
get over it.
All right,
Appreciate
then
it.
we're out, yo.
That's the
Let's
fun.
get out of here.
All right,
No
we'll see you
intro.
next week.
No
We'll have
outro.
tournament results, all kinds of stuff, UFC. We'll figure it out over the course of the week, and you'll figure it out next week when we're on. Until then, we'll be on Warzone or Apex. Catch us on the internet.
Peace.
See you soon.